base. And obviously, probably will have another Void Ray coming out soon as well. Unfortunately, they're just sitting there in the natural base, not
There you go, boys.
Not even trying to move up and fight.
Yep.
Yeah. Chimpone will be able to clean up the main base, and yeah, from here, I think it's just dealing with Void Rays is the issue here.
So I'm gonna say something about this. Remember, guys, this is Code B. She's used to a certain way of playing, where you make things and you deal with things, that, and then when you get something that she's not used to, like air, it throws them off and they just don't have a good read of the game. So this is where, if and when Cyan does coach in between games, it has to just keep it simple, right? Because, if you remember how you were in the game, right, and you watch the actions that you did when you were new, all of this makes sense because you just don't understand that. Oh, I had this. Oh, I can defend by doing this, right? So that's part of the learning curve of SC2.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this level, and I think even she probably had a perception of what she was going to run into from Chimpone's other games and other series. He's pretty consistently either gone like proxy gateways or DTs. And so air, I don't think was a consideration as like something he might go for. And so a lot of her prep was most likely against either DTs or really, really early attacks.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Chimpone did switch it up. Well done by him. This is why this is done a lot like the GSL, where you have a lot of time to prep for your next opponent.
If you give her way too many instructions about spores and queens and this and that, it gets way too hard, for a game that's going on now, a series that's happening right now. So I think, if you were the coach, what would you tell Kitty Cat Gamer, knowing that she has to understand and make a game change at her level, like now, like on the next game, like you only have like 3 minutes.
I think it's just, I think the pool first is good. It's forced Chimpone to kind of sit back. So from there, what you'd want to do is, I think you just make queens. I don't think you worry about spores. I think you just constantly make queens off of 2 bases and then go into hydras eventually. As GG is called. Try and make it as simple as possible. And yeah, just keep your injects up, things like that.
Yep, and then eventually go to hydras. Because hydras, I'm a big fan. They just make lots of stuff. And
yeah, absolutely. And that's also, I mean, now she's not going to have range for her hydras, which is a big deal against Void Rays. It makes it a lot harder for them to kite you and just run away whenever one of them is low health.
Yeah. So
not having that will hurt as well. And with 4 queens out, though, that is nice. 3 of them are in the main base at the moment, though. So if he goes into the natural, may have some damage opportunities. But 4 more hydras on the way. She's got a good position to kind of just collapse on these voids. And indeed, she is coming in on the Void Rays. Looks like he will opt to maybe fight. The Bile's not in the right spot, but he runs anyways. Does. Maybe. Oh, it doesn't even kill the low health Void Ray. That's very painful for Kitty Cat Gamer here. Chimpone, though, not pulling the low health Void Ray back at all is definitely a mistake here as well. Bile's hitting 2 of the Void Rays, so that's very nice too, but still trading out against those Hydralisks. But has to run now, I think, once he sees these additional queens coming in, but no transfuse! Yep, here she comes. We are just like a second away from Storm. So he should have Size Storm available. Do you push up into that after seeing what you've seen? Looks like the answer is yes. Size Storm actually almost as much on the Zealots as it is on the Hydras, but still a lot of damage going down there. We're going to see a second Size Storm. It looks like no. Second Size Storm very late, and the Hydras had already arced out. So I think, yeah, we're actually going to see Kitty Cat Gamer push through and win. By the time that second Storm came through, her Hydras had kind of naturally formed an arc out. So it was only able to hit like 3 or 4 Hydras instead of like the entire ball. So very nice for Kitty Cat Gamer there. She's making 11 more Hydras, and this is exactly what we were kind of talking about. Oh, but she is attacking a building. Okay, does retarget. Accidentally biles her own Hydras, but still should be able to take down this Void Ray, I'd imagine. Unless maybe there's a battery overcharge, which there is.
Oh, look at that.
Doesn't quite depower, though, but even with this, I mean, it's 43 workers to 21, 63 army supply to 4. She can lose this whole army, and she still had a great trade during this fight. And yeah, I mean, the Void Ray's DPS is so low against Hydras that the entire shield battery overcharge runs its full length, and then the Void Ray dies. So definitely going to be a win here for Kitty Gamer.
Sure.
So very nice out of her, and I think, I gotta say though, Chimpone made some critical mistakes that allowed what Kitty Cat Gamer did to work, but GG is called.
to see for Game 4, man. I think Champion has to change his strategy.
Though they still traded well enough, and this is what I'm talking about, kind of. I mean, he's continuously able to produce Zealots. He's never really going to run out of money, and if she's just making Link, she's making Link speed now, which is nice, and is trying to counterattack. But Roach Warren is coming down. Okay, this is good. She bought herself a little bit of time. I think these 4 Zealots, 6 Zealots, they're going to win this fight. Only 1 Zealot goes down. She will be able to, or he will be able to kill this natural base now. On the single Link counterattack, even gets pulled back.
Oh, yeah, she went back. She can't fight
and now they're just slow rallying into the Zealots. Oh, and he's going to click the hatchery down. Okay, he does fight the Lings. That's good. That would have been a mistake. 1 Zealot, still 4 left, and more being produced. He's actually not rallying his gateways directly into the natural at the moment, so there are just a couple Zealots chilling at his proxy, still not coming to help. 16 Lings on the way. That's a lot of Zerglings. There's only 6 Zealots out, or sorry, 8 Zealots out, but the 4 that are here are very low. She can fight and kill these with 16 Zerglings. And then there'll only be 4 Zealots out. But she's fighting a little disjointedly as well, so he still takes a pretty efficient trade. Overall, currently, 1,900 resources lost for Kitty Cat Gamer, 1,100 for Qian Pone. But she's stabilized a bit. Yeah, she needs to start producing roaches right now. If she can do that, she'll be in a good spot.
I see a couple of roaches coming out.
She's trading the Lings out. That's a little unfortunate as well. You kind of want to wait until the last possible second here to fight. Get as many roaches out as you can. And the Queen now going to die as well. I just don't know. There's only 2 roaches, and now she's going to start taking drone damage, it looks like. And the Zealots even damaging the roaches down quite heavily as they're just moving, or I guess I should say move commanding around. She tries to come in and fight with the Lings, but the Lings have already died. The Zealots are falling as well, and I think, who was it that predicted 3-1? Was that Seth? That was you. 3-1 prediction, I think, is going to be correct here. There's just... I think so. You're just never going to be able to produce enough here, right?
All right, we're live, guys. We have ET here. How you doing, ET?
Howdy, howdy. Doing good. How are you?
I'm setting up. We had a late start. Welcome, everybody. Super late start for many reasons. There's an illness in production, hosting. You know, ET's here, luckily, to help us out. I myself got tied up, and then one of our players had a track meet because, you know, everyone here has things to do. We're not professional gamers, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so let's show the lineup for tonight. We have 2 matches tonight, so I want to see what you think of these, ET. So the 2 matches are right here on the screen. the Code A play-in and our Code S start of the playoffs.
Yeah,
What do
we're
you
kicking
think?
off. We're kicking off two more, the final two divisions of the FSL. So it's really exciting. We're getting obviously up into the upper echelons of the MMR, all the way up into that Code S slot. Neutrophil versus Sir Maligan should be a very interesting one. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
Neutrophil did take the previous season, so we'll see if he manages to continue that performance this time around.
Indeed. And I think we're going to start with Pone versus Cyan, and they already did their vetoes. And let's bring him in for the interview. The long awaited start to this. They've been very patient with hopping on. So let's bring him in here and start interviewing him. All right. So welcome Pone and Cyan. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. You all set? Pone, you know, it's. I think you
It
just
looks
had
like
dinner.
Chian is admin muted.
Oh, he's muted.
The
Let's go
server.
double check why he was doing that. Maybe it's from the last time we had on. Let me make sure.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Pone, how are you? You can certainly hear us because I saw him smile. So, how are you doing, Pone? Oh, he doesn't have his. Oh, yeah, he does. Okay.
There we go.
I haven't practiced a lot, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah, all right. So this is going to be quite a match. You know, you're moving up a stage here into the Code A, and standing in your way is Cyan. So let's start our interviews here. Cyan, let's start with you first. How are you feeling about tonight's match?
I feel pretty good about tonight. I can't take this lightly.
Yep.
Because he can cheese with the best of them. So
That's true.
I got to take it pretty serious and get ready for hopefully the next round as well. And I got to get some redemption for Kitty Cat tonight.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. Same household revenge. Pone is cheese and own. Pone, I guess, right? So gotta watch out for that. How about you, Pone? You know, I know you don't feel a whole lot of pressure. It doesn't seem like you're just here to have fun, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Et, go ahead. Ask these guys.
Let's see. So, Pone, if you had to guess your chances at winning, what percentage chance do you think you have to take the series tonight?
Maybe like 45 or 40.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's really
not
good.
bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's not bad at all.
All right. And
It's
then,
like-
yeah, I think that was really my only question. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's not too much to say about this. Cyan covered it pretty well. You know, he's going to have to
Yeah.
look out for those aggressive builds, and
Yeah.
we'll see if he manages to block them.
Exactly. And Cyan is not invincible, so don't worry. Cyan lost to Little Reaper in one of the matches, right? Cyan, you know about this.
I did. So
Yeah,
I did
so-
lose to a 10 and under kid. So but
there you
he's
go.
really
you never
good.
know. Everything is possible in the FSL, especially in a preparation type tournament, right, guys? So that's the beautiful thing about this tournament.
Yeah, and to elaborate on that, if anybody saw, Nee beat Cyril 3-0 in 3 straight ladder matches.
Oh, there you go. So he streamed, huh? Okay, it's ladder. I'm glad it's not a tournament, and you spoiled me to it. So.
Yeah, it wasn't a tournament.
All right. Well, this is not quite Nee versus Cyril, but it is as scary, right? And I'm assuming you mean you're Cyril there and he's Nee. So there you go. Anything. All right, guys. Final words to each other. It's a best of 5.
GLHF.
GLHF. Cyan?
Good luck, have fun.
That's right. Okay. All right. We'll take ourselves out of the cameras because we don't matter as much as the players. We will mute and deafen them now to make sure we can talk about the game properly, obviously, without messing things up.
Yeah,
Cyan.
you know,
Yeah,
somewhat
go for
important.
it, man. Here's the map selections. I'm showing that now.
Yeah, so let's see. I can pull them up as well. Let's make sure the players are ready. So yeah, we're starting off with Curious Minds. It's a pretty short map. So good for aggressive strategies as we are loading in. And then 2,000 atmospheres and Blackburn, so a very macro-focused map, and then the kind of the weird, funky map in the pool. And then if we get there, Hardwire and Glittering Ashes to close us out. So here we go, we're loading in.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
What's your score prediction here?
I mean, I love my family and I love my little brothers, but I'm gonna go 3-0 for Cyan. I mean, it's possible we'll see another Deepu-esque run, but Cyan's a very strong player. Obviously, was even in the Code S in the previous season, just barely kind of slipped out of that. So
Yeah.
I'd expect him to be able to make a pretty sizable run in the playoffs. So I think he has a pretty good chance here. But we're loading into the game, and someone is already pulling a probe in the upper left-hand side of the map. We have the green Protoss. He is
Chin Home.
And his opponent, the blue Protoss. He is
Cyan.
Yes, sir. I see two. I think this is a cannon rush. Well,
Oh
no.
yeah, could be,
Well,
but you need a pylon at home.
Yeah,
In
he
theory,
didn't pile on the home, so I guess I'm thrown off because you see something like this. What?
full pylon. I think this is probably proxy gates.
Yeah, I
I
guess
would
so.
think,
And
and maybe it's a
just-
fake scout to throw him off. Who knows?
That's a good point. You know, this reminds me of what Little Reaper used to do. He would just flop down a bunch of cannons and just kind of like be doing all kinds of stuff until he optimized his build. So. very
Yeah, he's
similar.
one of the players. I think one of his matches was as Cyan is instantly scouting in the right direction. Oh, not quite. Little Reaper was like one of the first matches I ever watched. I think maybe he's casted as well. And yeah, back then it was like I think he was in the Code B, and the games would all consist of him like cannoning about 3 bases away from the players' bases, and then slowly creeping the cannons across the map,
Yeah.
and he'd win. So pretty fun stuff. At this level, cannons, just the psychological component is quite threatening. But anyways,
he
we
knows.
do have a scout out of Cyan. He should know what's going on. And this is the thing with Tian Pone sort of, but a very quick nexus off of one gateway.
Man, I don't know about this.
Holy schmoly, kind of crazy. What is this probe doing? Just scouting, I guess. The
Yeah.
thing with the gate rush that Qianpeng is doing is technically in PvP, most people get 2 gateways really quick anyways.
Yeah.
So you're not really going to have much more production than your opponent generally.
Yeah.
And Cyan is going to try and make a zealot.
didn't
Qianpeng
find
chasing that
it.
probe down.
Yeah, he did
And
find
Qianpeng, he's not going to be supply blocked anytime soon, so that's, pretty good.
something.
And there is a Nexus down, and the Cybercore isn't finished up yet. Obviously, I think if you get Adepts out here, it's going to be a pretty smooth ride for you. As the Cybercore is dropping, he needs to take a double gas in his main right about now if he wants to make anything with those, though. That-
Yeah.
I feel like the Cybercore was pretty late. I feel like you could have a shield battery by the time these guys made it in there when you scout it, but there are still a Zealot out. He could pull some probes or just kite around with the Zealot until that battery gets up.
My feet,
My
bro.
feet
And he's
for
gonna go the
honor.
long way. Oh,
Yeah, he's trying to circumvent the units, I guess.
Oh,
And this is
man.
exactly what Cyan needed to do. Just kind of run him around until his battery was done. I mean, the battery is almost run out, but good play out of Cyan. There is enough energy for an overcharge. And yeah, I think this rush should just be held by a single Zealot and a shield battery. I think maybe clicking on the battery would have been the better choice here. But it's hard to judge in the heat of the moment. And again, we do have a Cyber Core, but we have no gas. So he could, like, shield battery rush, but that's about all he's going to be able to do at the moment. Okay, and he's just making a shield battery at his gateways in case Cyan tries to come and break those, it looks like. I think the natural is a pretty good target here. There's not a whole lot of units out for Cyan. He's finally got a second gateway up. His warp gate is finishing. I just don't know if Qian's going to be able to pull it off here. And one thing Qian really needs to practice with these rushes is F2ing. He oftentimes leaves his rallies for quite a while before pulling them across to help. If there were 4 Zealots here, he might have been able to get a good amount of damage done. But as it is, now the Stalkers are out. There's a pylon dropping on the natural base as well. I think we're going to see a pretty smooth hold out of Cyan here.
Yeah, at this point, he's feeling very good about this.
Yeah, he lost 4 probes and a zealot, but all of Qian's tech is on his side of the map, so it'll be easy to clean up later on. And Qian does not have a follow-up to this. He hasn't been mining gas. I mean, if he'd been producing stalkers this whole time, or maybe even just battery rush the natural base or the main, that is an option as well. But as it is, there's just 6 stalkers out now. The stalkers are starting to outnumber the zealots, and since they're slow zealots, you can kite them for all of eternity, really.
Yeah,
we'll see. I think he may just, he's just going to go across the map and go for the kill rather than trying to break through the shield batteries and zealots there. This does present a counterattack opportunity for Qian, but I think he can kill Qian's buildings pretty easily before Qian can get much done. We'll see that now. Will he go in with the zealots? He is moving out with the zealots towards the natural base of Cyan. Only just now taking a gas, though. And I think we're going to see at least game 1 go Cyan's way pretty dominatingly as well. I mean, he held that rush with really just a zealot and a shield battery, and took a natural expansion. So pretty good out of Cyan here. The shield batteries are going to get targeted down now, which is good, but the stalkers, again, can't just kite and even recalling the rest of its stalkers. And it's 32 probes to 3. And I think once these zealots get cleaned up, we may see a tap out of Qian. Or maybe not. He does have 4 more zealots. But he's got no mining. And Cyan even left a single stalker at the nexus of Qian just to make sure that no mining will ever occur there again. Very nice out of Cyan here. A stalker does fall, but just not enough production up.
Yeah, so Qianpo will need to definitely adjust in his future games, and if and when he does play the next league over with more optimized builds. He definitely could have done 4 gateways. Typically, that's what you want.
Yeah, I think 4 gateways, or you've got to just take your gases like as your 2 gateways are going on. Another really popular PvP build is 2-gate forge, so that would have been an option as well.
Yep.
So those are all options, things to kind of improve on. He's got like the building block of being a cheesy guy, but definitely needs to add on to that. Let's just go ahead and invite everyone. And we're going to move to...
The next level that he could do that will be instant rewards for him, I think it's just having a build practice. Just do practice an optimized build that you can probably look up on, what's that, Imba builds, or what is the... there's another
it's
website.
Spawning Tool, I
Spawning
think.
Tool has some good builds.
Yeah. I think following a build order is the #1 step to improvement, from gold up to like... Well, really silver up to like diamond masters.
Yep.
Even in masters and grandmasters, you are tweaking and improving builds a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're definitely an integral part. So let's make sure our players are ready, and then we'll be able to hop into 2,000 atmospheres, which is a much bigger map. So any aggression, you're gonna be Lance or Qian is gonna be Terran. So
right.
that
might as
is
well.
interesting.
Might as well have some fun. And the thing is, if he had gone directly to the mineral line, I think he would have killed a few workers, right? And then the game may change a bit. But he kind of went the long way, and he didn't actually go right away either. So Cyan, the way he started that game, he was super unoptimized, especially when the cheese was coming, because he went late Cyber and Nexus, right? Really fast Nexus, so...
Yeah, it's true. But Cyan obviously pulled him around with that one zealot, and Qian unfortunately fell for the bait a little bit there.
You are watching
still
FSL Season 5.
At least get a game. We'll see. I mean, with Terran, my guess is he's just gonna like proxy 4x or something. We'll see what he opts for here.
Proxy 4x will kill you sometimes, so that's the beauty of this. Alright.
Alright, in the bottom left-hand side of the map, we got the blue Protoss up 1-0. He is
Cyan.
And his opponent, the green Terran player in the top right, it is
Qianpo.
You think he's gonna copy his brother's to eBay fast upgrade build.
He might. For the moment, he's just going to supply depot.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we've seen consistently out of him is he usually makes 2 pylons or supply depots before anything else, really.
Oh!
Misplaced it. And of course, as Terran, the one race where you can't relocate your buildings if you misplace them, so I had to cancel it there. That's okay. We'll see what this SUV is going to do. Maybe look for an expansion. No, it's just going to go back up into the main base. Oh, he could do Top Gun's build.
Top Gun. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Top Gun obviously is a man of aggression. He's, for those who don't know, Barnabas Yu. He's actually part of Sidestorm.
Oh yeah. Okay, Top Gun is his name, but he's had many names like Sky something.
Yeah, he goes all over. Skylar, Top Gun. Top Gun's just the first username I ran into. But yeah, he's got like 5 different usernames, 3 of which are barcodes. But he's a very aggressive guy. One of his builds that he does in TVZ, obviously he does 2 base all-ins, and then he does proxy 4 racks, but he actually just does an at-home exactly this proxy 4 racks, where you kind of pretend that you're expanding and like you push back the overlords with your early marines, like float a barracks out or something, but you actually just pull up like 20 or 30 marines in your main base, and then you just pull every SCV and all the marines and go. And it is surprisingly good, even at Grandmaster. That's actually one of the only draws I can remember having since I got the GM was when he did that build versus me, and I just barely killed all his marines, but he killed every single one of my drones, and I had no money left. So he just floated his buildings, and that was it. But anyways, he does have 4 barracks. Cyan is scouting, though. He needs to keep that depot up. He needs to just start producing off of these. He's making a gas. Oh, he's going to make Marauders, I think, as well. So this is sort of like a 3 racks build that you see in TVP, but it's going to be a bit more of a 4 racks instead. See what he's planning on doing with these other barracks. I think he's just going to add on reactors to them. Maybe.
Work, man. I like the way this looks because, you know, to Cyan.
Oh, he's going to make stem, I think. Okay. Yes, to Cyan, I mean, you know,
it looks
he's already a Code B player as a Protoss, and then he's off racing, so you're like.
Yeah, you might just.
You see,
like...
it's quite possible you go, oh, he just doesn't really know what he's doing. Okay, he's being careful. Yeah, gotta respect your opponents, and Cyan doing a good job of doing exactly that. It happens as well in like the whenever I used to play in the ESL cups, and almost invariably you'd get put up against a diamond or bronze or gold player or something like that in your first round. There's always that like, is this guy actually diamond? That you have to like figure out. Because there's been a couple times. There's a couple players. I think Riddler was that his name.
Yeah.
Where they'd like to play unranked, but they'd be ranked in as like bronze or whatever. So you'd see it and be like, oh. Then this was before the league bug, so that wasn't just what you'd hop to assume. Yeah, so you'd be like, why am I put up against this person? And then they would actually be a grandmaster. So, but anyways, as for this, yeah, it's just going to be a massive.
This looks so much better his build than the other one. The only thing I would change is I wish he had an orbital.
Yeah, an orbital. I think maybe making Marines out of, like, putting the tech lab behind and just making Marines out of his front barracks, so that you can more quickly get rid of the scouting probe. And then maybe you can even, like, fake you're taking a base or something. Robo facility, that's not going to be too useful.
And Blink, too.
This has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it does have a lot. Blink is decent, but I like Charge for this kind of thing, but I don't know.
But he's adding on. Yeah, you need to just make nothing but Marines. I don't think add-ons are the play here, except for the tech lab, obviously. Yeah. Shoots the rocks and shows them who's boss. So this is, let's see, we've got 20 Marines to 4 Stalkers and 2 shield batteries. 20 Marines kill a shield battery in like a second once they're stemmed. So you can pretty easily target those down. Which means it's really going to come down to the Blink micro. Yeah, and the big part about holding 3 racks is, I think, with Blink. Oh, man. I think he doesn't want to be scouted. So he's going a long ways around. Funnily enough, that puts you close to the tower, which is probably more likely for there to be units there. But anyways,
I think but if Sai's out of position, it could happen. He kills the shield batteries.
Yeah, he kills the shield batteries before the Blink Stalkers are there. And I was going to say, this is part of what Cyan's doing now. He should have done a long time ago. Part of holding a 3 racks effectively. Part of holding a 3 racks effectively is having your units like out on the Terran side of the map, so that you can tax the Marines as they're coming across the map. Maybe force out a stem. This is a lot of damage happening here. The stem has worn off, which means he's going to have to overstem a little bit. And there are Blink on these Stalkers. I like the discipline here. Waits quite a little bit. before he actually activates Stim. And, I mean, he's going to be able to pump out a lot of Marines. The only thing I'd say is I think he'd be in a really good spot, but he's not made any Marines behind this. He's only just now firing up Marines.
Yeah.
And he could easily have another 20 Marines out at this point.
And that's multitasking, I think, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. But these Marines are going to have combat shields, and he did reset Cyan's worker count to even with his. So there's still a chance. It's funny, his build definitely looks a lot cleaner than a lot of his Protoss all-ins look. And it's his off race, which is kind of funky, but it's possible with the Warp Prison coming across that the Stalkers will be able to get a lot of damage here, but whenever you do 4-gate blink, a big part of when you get stopped is when the Terran player has Stim, which Chimpone obviously already has. He blinks up here, and these Marines Stim on top. They've got combat shields. Yeah, this is actually really bad for Cyan. This is so bad for Cyan. That one Stalker will not be able to make it out. Targets the Prism even.
Yeah.
This is really good trades for Sheehan. Maybe he should swap the Terran next season. Holy cow.
He should, but the only thing I'd love is if he had a command center and orbital, and then he'd be in awesome shape.
Absolutely. That's very true. Cyan, he is adding on more probes. And he does have charge now. He's going to start out adding charge lots. Charge lots are actually not the best against this amount of stemmed Marines.
A lot of the...
Yeah, so... Again, though, what we're going to see is Chimpo's going to move out, and all of his unit production is going to stop. There is not going to be another Marine made until this ball of Marines is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he'd been consistently producing behind his pushes, he'd be like in a super winning position here. He could have like 2 or 3 bases, 3 or 4 times the Marines probably that he's got here. I mean, he is adding on add-ons, but he also hasn't really fully moved across the map. And while he's adding on add-ons, his other 2 barracks could be producing 4 Marines at a time, but they're not. So I think something he definitely needs to work on with his all-ins if he wants to be this kind of player, which is perfectly fine. It's an acceptable way to play. But if you want to be that kind of player, you really got to be able to macro behind it as well and make lots more units. I mean, 1,800 minerals is 36 more Marines he could have here. He could have 50-some Marines at this point against 9 Zealots and 4 Stalkers.
Like, you can see it. Even he's more preoccupied with the rock than making units. So this is an improvement point for him for later.
Absolutely. Like I said, he could literally have 50-some Marines right now against this 9 Zealots, 4 Stalkers. Instead, he's going to get cleaned up here. And yeah, I think if he just made units behind this, he would have won. Still an impressive showing for your off race. Not too bad at all.
There you go. He starts
firing up, and there we go.
Right after,
and as you can see, he queued up 8 Marines on each of those barracks. So he just kind of holds down the A key. I wonder if he doesn't hotkey his barracks, and maybe that's why he struggles with that so much. I'll have to ask him. Because a Terran, honestly, for me, it's like it's hard to set up your production as Terran, but once it's set up, it's some of the easiest like production cycles in the game. I think
that's true.
You don't really
you don't have a problem spending. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, you don't have to find. Yeah, you don't really have much of a problem spending. You don't have to find time to go back and inject, or you don't have to find an energy field to warp in at, or worry about your warp prism. You can just hit 5 or whatever you bind all of your barracks and factories to, hit whatever key for the barracks, tab, so on and so forth. So it's very easy. You don't even have to look at it, and you can rally a lot easier than the other races as well. Again, is throwing away a lot of units into this.
Yeah, he's gonna clean this.
He will, but behind the Cyan is going into Storm against pure Stim Marines with no medevacs. So he might even go Storm Drop. That would be a classy way to take out these Marines. But yeah, even a 3rd base coming down. And yeah, Chien, what he's seen is he has a lot of money, so he's adding on additional barracks. But now that he's actually spending his money a little bit, he's not going to have enough money to produce off of, 6 barracks, all with reactors. That's just way too much. 12 Marines at a time.
Because he's all been making Marines and using the gas for add-ons in the last few minutes. So.
Yeah, he's actually got double engineering bay, but he did not make +1/+1 off of it. We'll see though. At home, it's just a few Zealots and High Templar. No shield batteries out yet, so there is some potential. But again, we see the production has now halted. As soon as the Marines move out, there's not another Marine going to be made until every last one of these Marines is dead and gone.
Indeed.
So yeah, I think that's the big thing that I like to talk to him about in the off season is not that he's going to lose this match or anything, but in the off season, making units while you're attacking
Yeah.
is a big thing. And I think that's really probably the difference between him being a Code B player and being a Code A player at this
Yeah,
point in time.
That's true.
Is
He could-
that ability to macro behind your pushes.
And he alerts the enemy that he's coming up. Oh, Nelly.
Oh man, that
better-
was a disgusting storm.
You better come at me harder than that, bro.
Yeah, that's a 17 kill High Templar, by the way. So,
It's the most I've seen.
whew. Yeah, I think he had a real opportunity, but just not making
He
that
did.
production.
But you know, you guys playing SC2, watching SC2, now you know what to do, and it's not that super crazy formula on how to get better, right? There's small things that you can do like that makes a big difference, which is
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I got some little insider information as well from someone who's in the same building as Gianfone. He's a big JoJo fan, and so when the storm hit all his rage, he started screaming, "Nani!" Which of course means what? So,
all right. Well, here goes, guys.
GG's called. We'll be logging into the
Science
last
looking good.
game.
Yeah, last game.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get our mod going. And yeah, I mean, Xianpeng really had a decent shot there. So not too
Yeah.
bad. I think a good performance out of him. I honestly was expecting him to struggle a little bit more. Like it'd be a little bit more one-sided.
Well, you know
but
what?
He's definitely doing well.
Even though he lost that game, it looks like he had fun in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun. There's very little pressure, I think, on him at this moment because it's like
Yeah.
he already won his division.
Yes.
Anything else he can achieve is kind of just bonus
He just
points.
wants to steal a win. That's basically what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, really, for him, it's not just he didn't just win his division; he beat his brother. I think that was his big thing. And
That's
now,
right.
who cares? So we'll make sure our players are ready, and then it'll be Blackburn as our potential final game for this series, and then we'll head into Maligan and
All right.
Neutrophil. So here we go. We're loading in.
Yeah, we had a long delay. This first series may be pretty short, but the next one may be a lot longer, I think. We'll see.
Yeah, there's definitely that potential.
Unless they
At the
both
same time, it
get
is a
rush.
PvP, so it could be very short as well.
Yes.
So we'll see.
You are
guys.
watching FSL Season 5.
The last standing Code B player in the last game.
Yeah, here goes. Good luck, good luck. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, we got the green Terran player. He is
Chin Pong.
and his opponent, the red Protoss. He is
Cyan.
It's a little bit different build. He didn't make 2 depots. He's winging it.
yeah.
But he's having fun winging it.
I'm guessing he's getting live coaching from Fenrir. So, well, not in game, but like in between games. So
Yeah,
Fenrir's probably watching the stream and then just going, "Okay, they said don't do this, and you do this." So it might be
let's-
on the fly adjustments.
Well, if he coached properly, let's see if he remembers, or he did tell him, right, that he remembers to make an orbital.
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
what-
he'll need to
what
make an
was.
orbital. Yeah, that would have made a big difference. At the same time, though, it's funny because it's like, yes, an orbital is really good, but also he was floating money like the entire game, so it probably
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't have changed things,
That's
unfortunately.
true. I guess you're right.
Like, if I had to choose one of the 2 adjustments, I'd say making units
Just keep
is what
making
he
units.
needs to do.
Hotkey, press the A button to make Marines non-stop.
Yeah, it's true.
And
We'll see,
rally
though.
it.
This is,
Just rally in front
this
of
is-
Science base.
Very true. This is very different. Well, we actually see the orbital. There we go.
Whoa!
And a
whoa.
quick expansion as well. Did he queue that up from the SCV at...
Yeah, it's the
Oh, no.
SUV that's
He
making
queued
the
up for the...
depot.
I thought he might have queued it from the scouting SCV. I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
macro, please.
Oh man. Actually, I like this build for him
Oh no,
after a
his
major
CC gets
cheese,
canceled.
right?
Yeah, it's a good build. It's a good build. His CC did get canceled because his SCV is walled out.
Oh man.
Thank goodness. He is prioritizing politeness over macro.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think it's
true.
Pig that says never prioritize talking smack over macro.
I like how he
but,
scanned even though he was just there.
yeah, just scouted, but he's got to make sure, you know. Trust but verify, as the Cold War saying goes. I caught you.
Caught you. Yeah, well.
Yeah,
he
he's
knows,
just having the time of his life. I wonder when it's going to occur to him that his CC never started. Oh, the probe makes it away. Oh, never mind.
Just about now. He's like.
Think he
"Thought I
may
made something
realize.
back here."
Yeah,
you
there we go.
There it is.
But what's the follow-up going to be? I mean, this Stargate, if it's an Oracle first, and he's only got 2 or 3 Marines, I think it's 5 well-microed Marines and 7 unmicroed Marines to beat an Oracle. So he might just keel over and die, depending on how many Marines he's got out at that point.
He's not making Marines, so there may be just 2 Marines at this point by the time this Oracle gets there.
Yeah, it's going to be close. He's making 1 more. He's queued up 4 in that barracks, so I think there'll be about 4 out at the point that Oracle
coming out.
across the map. Oh, he caught him again. I mean, considering that he does float money, I do like that he's using the orbital for just scanning and seeing exactly what's going on.
Oh no, he didn't actually see the Oracle pop out.
Oh man.
But
well, wait, did
Cyan's not going anywhere. He's chilling.
Was Cyan produced? I think Cyan started to make a Phoenix and then cancel it after the scan. So that might have been why he said it. I think I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if he's. I think the Oracle was technically in view, but it was like at the edge of the scan radius. So.
Yep.
Oh, he did. Oh, he's making a turret. He's just making a blind turret.
Oh, good.
He's making 2. Okay, I liked 1 blind turret, 2 blind turrets.
2 is better than nothing.
Overkill, but yeah, 2 is better than 0. That's true. Although he's got 5 Marines out now, and Cyan. I think Cyan is nervous to go in with this Oracle because of just how many scans have gone down at the side of the map. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some form of commentary on that.
Oh no!
Knows what to do. Oh hey, a reaction.
Actually, it's out of range. He won't get anything. But
he does go to set it off. I think 4 SCVs. Yeah, there's 2 in that stack at the top. So 4 SCVs is not bad. I was expecting an entire mineral line, if I'm being honest. Exactly. So that's a good reaction out of Chien. Very good. I like that. And a good adjustment out of Cyan, seeing that he can't really get much done with his Oracle. So it's just playing some stasis traps, being annoying. I think that's good. We're seeing straightaway combat shields out of Chien Phone this time around. And he is spending his money a little bit better than the previous game. At the same time, though, he's not getting any damage done on the other side of the map like he did in the previous game. So Cyan has ascended in terms of worker count, and it's not being reset. Obviously, we saw like 15 probes or something like that go down in the previous game to the initial Marine attack. About as good timing, honestly, there with the Stalkers moving out. I wonder if the game would have gone worse for him, or if he'd have just cleaned up the Stalkers with the initial stim if the Stalkers had been there. I imagine it was better that they went, but anyways, does he know about this? I think he knows about this. Oh, he does know about it because he's got a turret up, so he knows about the stasis ward. I'm very dumb. There's a turret literally next to it, so of course he knows about it.
He hasn't activated.
They're just kind of having a Mexican stare off, really. Or Mexican standoff, I guess I should say. Oh, mules? Oh, okay. He's muling! Hey, actually, so that's good.
2 orbitals. He didn't put the workers back to work.
Oh, man.
So, and you're not
that's
gonna notice that.
Yeah. At this level, I'm not surprised if... I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if he just has no idea that that's a thing. He might have clicked them back as soon as they got... Oh, I like it. Yeah, quick gold base out of Cyan. Obviously, I think Cyan is in a very, very strong position this game. Swine Meeper, we're already seeing, or Chien Pong, we're already seeing good adjustments out of him in his Terran play. Honestly, it seems like Terran might suit his playstyle better, surprisingly. He just seems a lot more in tune with the macro of it. Obviously, it's still not perfect, but I'd say it's a lot better. So maybe you might have to recommend he sticks with it for next season, but we'll see.
Here's the thing. I think his Protoss cheeses just aren't good enough for Code A level. But when he gets a normal game, we never actually saw that, right? And
That's
he's
true.
been pretty decent
That's true.
in a normal game, especially when he gets his Colossi going and all that, right? I mean, not Colossi.
That's very true.
Yeah, the Colossi and Disruptor play that he does. So.
Yeah, maybe some Immortal, something like that, yeah. We do have Charge out now. Stimpack on the way from the Marines. Looks like something's coming into the main base. It's just the Oracle. Canceling some buildings. Oh, a Ghost Academy. He's like, you are not going to kill me with Sidestorm this game. You foul Protoss. He's going to go straight to Ghost and try and EMP the High Templar.
He actually did.
Yeah, he was queuing them up so that they would... Yeah, I think this was intentional to wait for the base to finish, but now they're just sitting there. There we go. Yeah, I think it was so that they wouldn't long distance mine, maybe, which is decent. I think that maybe helps, you know, if
that's actually not a bad idea. I never thought of it that way. You know, you just rally to a spot, and then when you're ready, you do that. But for me, what I do is I wait until it's close, and then I just put it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well is probably a you know, with Qian being the aggressive player he is, he doesn't want him seeing the probes long distance mining back and forth and having an easier time sniffing out where the base is, perhaps. But maybe I'll have to ask him if that was the idea there, if that's just something he always does.
And he has a
we do have a third base.
We got a macro game here.
Yeah, I'd like to see some Marauders being added in, but I imagine we're just going to see Marine Tank Ghost, maybe, with some Medivacs, which it has the potential to work as well. Against a pure Gateway army, I've heard, at least, from a lot of fairly high-level Protosses, like Holy Hit, for one, like a pure Gateway army just gets absolutely annihilated if there's Ghosts out, and a good amount of bio.
Yep.
Because not only does it deny, you can deny the storm, and EMP does a ridiculous amount of damage to shields whenever the units are clumped up. And he's getting, what is it, ultrasonic shockwaves or something like that? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, his tank is stuck. But
oh, man.
That one little tank won't do too much anyway at this point.
Yeah, that's true. So not the end of the world. We'll see if he re-rallies that at any point. I guess his Medivacs could pick it up. He's actually double producing Medivac, or no, not. Oh, he is double producing, but he's supply blocked. I was like,
yeah,
it looks like there's two in there, but only shows one.
Yeah. Another key thing with Terran that really sucks for you, that's a disadvantage in my opinion, is you don't know your queued units aren't coming out, right? Unlike Protoss,
he did see it though.
You know how in Protoss you try to warp in, you can't because you're supply blocked, or your Zerg you can't make larva something else.
Yeah, you can queue them up as Terran, they just don't do nothing.
Yeah,
so
you don't
it's a little
know.
bit harder
You never
to notice.
knew that unless you see like, oh, nothing's actually being made. So.
Yeah, either seeing it or maybe hearing the alert. All right, we'll have to see if he manages to EMP these juicy High Templar.
Well, let's see that.
We'll see.
Ghost.
He only made one Ghost. He's got another on the way. I guess he only has one barracks with a tech lab.
Ghost needs to do it now. Oh, and he doesn't do it in time.
And then does EMP the main army? But yeah, I think that's going to be game. It was a good, very decent macro overall from Qian on his Terran. So yeah, I mean, if he wants to stick with Protoss, I think he can. But I also see a potential future in Terran. We'll have to see what he decides in the off season. Yes. Well done by him, winning the Code B, obviously. GG3. There you go. Says, and leaves the game.
Well, he looks like he's still having a lot of fun. So that's the good news about here. So let's bring him back for our interviews. All right, welcome back. Let's go chat with him. Why don't you start the questioning, Mr. E.T.?
Sure, yeah. So, Cyan, in Game 3 there, we were talking about how you rallied your probes next to your mineral line at the gold base instead of directly onto the minerals. I assume so they weren't long-distance mining. Is that something you specifically did against Qian, or is that something you just generally like to do with your, like any expansion, take a little bit farther away from your bases?
I think it works better if you do it that way. I've learned that in 2v2s and stuff. When you take a hidden expansion, instead of having your probes, SCVs or whatever, long distance mining, and if they see it, then they know, hey, there's something out there. So I just rally them to there, and then they're there until the Nexus is done, and then you just put them right to work.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And then game 2, obviously, was probably the most interesting game of the series. The Stalkers moving out at just the exact wrong time. When you saw that many STEM Marines in your base, I mean, your probes obviously melted. Were you feeling kind of worried about the game at that point, or did you still feel pretty comfortable that you could take it?
Felt pretty comfortable. I didn't see any medevacs, so if I saw more medevacs, I probably would have worried a little bit more. I did not expect that, whatever it was, 5 barracks full of STEM Marines like that. I was actually expecting Marauders more than anything.
Yeah.
So that was a good push by him at that point.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And then obviously game 1, just a little bit of an all-in. You did a great job there, so I think that pretty much covers it. And then Chien, how do you feel about your performance overall? Are you pretty happy with how you did there, especially with swapping to your off race?
It was pretty fun.
Pretty fun?
I've been practicing to just copy tempo.
Ah.
Oh, to copy tempo. Ah, right. Yeah, you did mention the other day that you learned how to stem no matter what. So that
Yes,
makes sense.
that video. Yep.
All right. And that would be why the dedication to pure barracks in game 2. It was a good attempt, I would say, with the trying to make the ghost to block out the storms. I think that was a good adjustment. But obviously, as we've heard many Terran players in the Code B and Code A, and even some of the Code S say, pretty hard to micro. So a good attempt there. Good job overall. And we look forward to seeing you next season.
All right, nice. Good job, Chien Pong. Well done.
Yeah, and congratulations to Cyan. Obviously, we'll move on to face your next opponent.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
not sure
show
is
that
that
on the screen right now. So, Chien Pong, we're showing here, will be facing Criminal. And let's refresh that to show the update. Boom. There you go. From one Terran to the next.
Yeah, I got my work cut out for me for that one.
All right, time to practice. Time to practice with DLS Mizel, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, it was good seeing both of you guys. Thanks for playing tonight. And good
game,
luck
Gian.
with your practice. And we'll see you next season, Chien Pong. Congrats on a nice season. Oh, it's your rookie season.
That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, you want to give out a shout out before you say goodbye? Shout out to whoever you want.
We'll definitely be there next season.
But do you want to give thanks to anyone who helped you throughout the season to improve your play and
Thank
level up?
you, Instability, and thank you, ET. Oh.
There you go.
Oh, it's a pretty cool username. Anyways, all right. So thanks so much for y'all, and we will see y'all, some of you next week, and others in the next season. Have a good
That's
night.
right. Good night,
And
guys.
then we'll be heading into Code
game.
S.
Yeah, Code S. So what we'll do is we'll take a break. We'll be back for the Code S match, and we'll get these guys on camera. We'll get ET back on with me to interview the players, and we'll be right back. Thanks, Cyan. See you guys in a little bit. So I'll be back about a couple minutes or so.
Okay, yeah, sorry about the camera. Apparently my phone turned it off because it was
No
overheating.
No worries. All right, we'll be right back with ET and myself. Where Cyan may say, "Hey, just make Hydras. Keep making queens. Don't worry about it. Stay put and keep macroing."
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. As long as she just goes Roach Hydra, I think she'll be in a pretty good spot in the rest of the series if she can make that adjustment. It'll just really come down to whether or not she does make that adjustment. It's sending, I think, some more roaches across the map, maybe going through the middle there.
Well, you know,
a
she
few more
doesn't
roaches,
think she
but
can defend. That's the thing. She has no assessment on how strong these units are. That's what's going on here. She doesn't realize she can actually defend with spores and things. And so
Yeah. Now her lair is gone. Like I said, even a Zealot and a Stalker will be able to do a pretty good job of defending against that number of Roaches with the amount of shield batteries he has in his main base. And obviously, probably will have another Void Ray coming out soon as well. Unfortunately, they're just sitting there in the natural base, not even trying to move up and fight.
Yep.
Chimpon will be able to clean up the main base, and yeah, from here, I think it's just dealing with Void Rays is the issue here.
So I'm gonna say something about this. You know, remember, guys, this is Code B. She's used to a certain way of playing, where you make things and you deal with things, and then when you get something that she's not used to in here, it throws them off, and they just don't have a good beat of the game. So this is where, if and when Cyan does coach in between games, you have to just keep it simple, right? Because, you know, if you remember how you were in the game, right, and you watch the actions that you did, all of this makes sense because you just don't understand that. Oh, I have this. Oh, I can do like this, right? So that's part of the learning of
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, at this level, and I think even she probably had a perception of what she was going to run into from Chimpong's other games and other series. He's pretty consistently either gone like proxy gateways or DTs, and so air, I don't think was a consideration as like something he might go for. And so a lot of her prep was most likely against either DTs or really, really early attacks.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Chimpong did switch it up. Well done by him. You know, this is why this is done a lot like the GSL, where you have a lot of time to prep for your next opponent.
You know, if you give her way too many instructions about spores and queens and this and that, it gets way too hard, you know, for a game that's going on now, a series that's happening right now. So I think, you know, if you were the coach, what would you tell Kitty Cat Gamer, knowing that she has to understand and make a game change at her level, like now, like on the next game? Like you only have like 3 minutes.
I think it's just, I think the pool first is good. It's forced Chimpong to kind of sit back. So from there, what you want to do is, I think you just make queens. I don't think you worry about spores. I think you just constantly make queens off of 2 bases and then go into hydras eventually. SUG is called. Try and make it as simple as possible, and yeah, just keep your injects up, things like that.
Yep, and then eventually go to hydras. Because hydras, I'm a big fan. They just make lots of stuff. And
yeah, absolutely. And that's also, I mean, now she's not going to have range for her hydras, which is a big deal against Void Rays. It makes it a lot harder for them to kite you and just run away whenever one of them is low health.
Yeah.
So not having that will hurt as well. And with 4 queens out, though, that is nice. 3 of them are in the main base at the moment, though. So if he goes into the natural, may have some damage opportunities. But 4 more hydras on the way. She's got a good position to kind of just collapse on these voids. And indeed, she is coming in on the Void Rays. Looks like he will opt to maybe fight. The Bile's not in the right spot, but he runs anyways. Does. Maybe. Oh, it doesn't even kill the low health Void Ray. That's very painful for Kitty Cat Gamer here. Chimpong, though, not pulling the low health Void Ray back at all is definitely a mistake here as well. Bile's hitting 2 of the Void Rays, so that's very nice too, but still trading out against those Hydralisks. But has to run now, I think, once he sees these additional queens coming in, but no transfuse! Yep, here she comes. We are just like a second away from Storm, so he should have Side Storm available. Do you push up into that after seeing what you've seen? Looks like the answer is yes. Psystorm actually almost as much on the Zealots as it is on the Hydras, but still a lot of damage going down there. We're going to see a second Psystorm. It looks like no. Second Psystorm very late, and the Hydras had already arced out. So I think, yeah, we're actually going to see Kitty Cat Gamer push through and win. By the time that second Storm came through, her Hydras had kind of naturally formed an arc out. So it was only able to hit like 3 or 4 Hydras instead of like the entire ball. So very nice for Kitty Cat Gamer there. She's making 11 more Hydras, and this is exactly what we were kind of talking about. Oh, but she is attacking a building. Okay, does retarget. Accidentally biles her own Hydras, but still should be able to take down this Void Ray, I'd imagine. Unless maybe there's a battery overcharge, which there is.
Oh, look at that.
Doesn't quite depower, though, but even with this, I mean, it's 43 workers to 21, 63 army supply to 4. She can lose this whole army, and she still had a great trade during this fight. And yeah, I mean, the Void Ray's DPS is so low against Hydras that the entire shield battery overcharge runs its full length, and then the Void Ray dies.
Well,
so definitely going to be a win here for Kitty Cat Gamer. So very nice out of her, and I think I gotta say though, she and Pone made some critical mistakes that allowed what we had here didn't work. GG is called.
All right, we're back, guys. This is the Code S part of our playoffs. The start of the Code S, start of the series, right? There you go. Let us make sure ET's here. Okay, looks like
Hello,
a
hello.
YouTube thing popped up there for a little bit. So yeah, ET is back. I'm back, and our next match is the Malagant Neutrophil match, which you'll be casting in all gusto. I'm sure you'll have fun with that one. Let's show our playoff bracket once again, and then bring in the players. So let's do that real quick.
Yeah, so we can see we'll have, as they are joining us here, we'll have Neutrophil and Sir Malagant fighting for the right to fight Dark Menace to attempt to advance into that finals.
There you go.
So we have our players with us here now. Sir Malagant, how are you feeling going into this match?
It's good. Haven't been practicing, but hopefully I can do some good matches today with Neutrophil. Been busy.
Awesome, yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, I think we'll see a lot of Protoss out of Neutrophil in the playoffs, and we've seen some wacky, exciting PvPs from your side of things. So looking forward to see what we wind up with here tonight. Does a best of 5 really affect you much as opposed to a best of 3, do you think?
Yeah, I think I have a better chance, I guess, because should warm up, I guess, a couple of games. So I haven't played pretty much. So hopefully a couple of games will get me back somehow.
Okay,
I'm sure I'm
perfect.
the underdog here.
Right. Well, not too much, but yeah, obviously we do have Neutrophil here, who did win the previous season, and I think has won 2 before that. I can't remember for sure, but anyways, Neutrophil, how are you feeling about this match tonight?
I'm looking forward to this actually. Obviously, I lost to Sir Malagant earlier this season. I was kind of going Terran, so this time I'm gonna go Protoss. I haven't practiced as much either, so it should be a pretty good game series.
Ooh, PvP, and I'm excited to see this. Whoa. You know, were you preparing
absolutely.
Malagant for PvP or PB whatever?
I'm pretty sure he's gonna go Protoss, right? It's
you
the
already
playoffs,
knew.
so.
Yeah, it's the playoffs. Time to get serious. You're right. That's a very good
Alright.
point. Malagant, very astute with that, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no Terran tonight, so PvP all the way.
All right,
and Neutrophil, as for the same question to you, kind of, how do you feel about best of 5s versus best of 3s? Do you think they make you feel a little better about your chances or a little worse?
Honestly, against Sir Malagant, I'm looking forward to a best of 5 because I feel like I'm less likely to get caught off guard by some really good cheese.
Right, harder to keep the variation up over 5 games as opposed to just 3. Although in PvP, man, there is an endless assortment of random things they can throw at you. So we'll see exactly what
Yes.
happens. But KJ, did you have any final questions before we head into the match?
No, you know, people may think, oh, mirror match, it's gonna be the same old, same old. No, PvP, to me, I'll tell you guys, I enjoy watching because there's so many different types of openers and rock, paper, scissors situations there. So, good luck to both of you. Looking forward to this match, and we'll see you guys after the games.
All right.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Alright, we'll server deafen and mute them right now. They already made their selections.
All right,
which
yeah. And so yeah, we can
show right
see if
there.
you pull up the map selections on screen. Well, they've sort of done the map selections. We're actually missing a couple from Neutrophil, but we do have 3 games set up. So it's going to be Berlingrad to start us off, ladies and gentlemen, followed up by 2,000 Atmospheres and then Blackburn. We're just making sure our players are ready. And yeah, this should be a very exciting matchup. And I do have to agree, I think PvP is probably the best mirror matchup. You know, people are always like, oh man, Cyril and Raynor make ZVZ great. Or like, oh man, this was a really actually interesting TVT. There's never been a time where I see like a PvP match in a tournament and I'm sad. Like, there is so much craziness you can pull here. It's never ending. So we'll see. And Maligan, you know, he's a little bit of a crazy player. Obviously, against Instability, we saw a wild game with him overtaking her main base on Blackburn with cannons and Void Rays. So we'll see what happens here. We're loading in.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, we're here in the bottom left-hand side of Berlingrad LE. It is our green Protoss player. He is
Sir Maligan.
And his opponent in the upper left. Can he win yet another season of FSL? He is
Neutrophil.
So just to correct you there, he's a 2-time champion. So last season,
2-time?
and some other time. So,
okay. Right, because I think he took like a season hiatus, right? So he won one, took one off.
No,
won
he
one.
played. He played. He's just that, you know, other people won. Seth won. I think maybe Maligan won. Other people won. We didn't have a repeat until he actually won.
Okay, I see. Okay, there you go. So 2 times still. I think that's one more time than anyone else. I think he's the only repeat champion of the FSL, which you could correct me there as well. Honestly,
You're
not
right.
positive, but I think so. Okay, so we have double gas openings out of both players. Second gateways looks like will come down as well, most likely here. As both players went for a pretty quick scout here, and actually no second gateway until very late out of either player. So it looks like it's just going to be a 1-gate expand. And somehow Maligan's found himself down a worker in the midst of this. I'm not sure how, because everything else is mirrored, but he's got 19 workers to 20. And he didn't lose one, so maybe he's just... Oh, he's either over-microing on the other side of the map, or he has something a little cheeky in store. As he's cut probe production. He's going to hide in Nexus at the 3rd base, maybe? No? Oh, no, he's just going to take the Nat. Okay. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell with PvP. Oh. Natural does get blocked. It's still no pro production. Neutrophil definitely looking a little bit cleaner in the opening. And obviously in the Code S, this is where you really start to expect those openings to be a little sharper and a little bit cleaner, as it really matters more and more the higher up in the echelons of the leagues you get. Stalker is coming out for both players. It is only a 2-worker advantage, so nothing game-ending, but the natural base for Neutrophil is much quicker than that of Sir Maligan's, as that pylon block did deny it for quite a while. Stargate coming down for Neutrophil. No tech out for Sir Maligan just yet, just a second gateway to assist in that production, but he's majorly supply blocked. And he's just going to go for some type of all-in, it looks like. Perhaps a 3rd gateway. He wants to take an expansion, though, so maybe not a full all-in. Oh, he's proxy roboing. Okay, so maybe he knew, or I think this is an adjustment. I think this is I got Nexus blocked. He's going to think I'm taking the Nexus anyways, and so he's going robo. With the battery nerfs and the Void Ray nerfs, proxy robo got way stronger. because Neutrophil's natural base is already finished up, the battery nerf won't affect things, but that Stargate only just now finishing up. If he makes a Void Ray, he may be able to hold, but if it's Phoenix or a Stalker, yeah. And this is something, I don't know if Sir Maligan calculated for this, but Neutrophil really likes Phoenix in PvP. He's able to get quite a bit of probe damage done with them over time, and it just feels very strong with them, I think, overall. So, to be fair, Sir Maligan's build is hitting quite late, but it's going to be a late second gateway and Phoenix production for Neutrophil. So Sir Maligan's army is going to be far superior here, especially as his warp gate is going to finish up good 15 seconds, I think, ahead of Neutrophil's. Actually, more like 20 seconds, I guess. Oh, fun fact of the day, because I actually just learned it myself. A chrono boost removes exactly 10 seconds from the research or construction time of a building. There you go. We do have the first Immortal out. He's making an Observer. He actually just needs to go. Without a battery being done here, he can just target that battery down, and there's only 1 or 2 Phoenixes out. 2 Phoenixes. That is enough to shut down the first Immortal. But, yeah, there goes the pylon. This natural base is forfeit in a lot of ways. And there's no... Oh, no, sorry, there is the sentry, but there's no energy on the sentry. He's going to try and depower the second gateway, but 2 of his units do get lifted. He is targeting down the Phoenix that's lifted, the Immortal, and the probes are not mineral walking through those Stalkers. That's actually very poor micro there initially for Neutrophil, but much better now. And I think Sir Maligan got a little bit too big for his britches here. You needed to just take the Nat, I think. After that initial damage goes through, you just take the natural base. Pushing up a ramp is always extremely dangerous, especially, I think he saw some of those Phoenix out. And now the potential for damage in this build is pretty much gone, and he's just down 10 workers. So yeah, got a little bit too excited, I think. And I mean, now those Phoenix as well are going to be able to get damage on the other side of the map. Did kill 1, but that's not too many. At the same time, though, Neutrophil still doesn't have very many units. He's got 3 Stalkers and a Sentry on his side of the map. I think maybe 1 Phoenix is still over there. The Phoenix don't really have lift energy, though. And yeah, still only 3 Stalkers. Man, if he'd warped that in across the map and gone in, would have had some potential there, but... we'll be able to target down the battery, perhaps. Is pulling back the weakened Stalkers, and this is the kind of micro we see at these levels, progressing better and better. The 3 Phoenix are coming home, but now there's no shield battery on that natural base. If the Immortal was out here, I'd feel pretty good still about Sir Maligan's chances to push in, but he's only barely up in army supply, and most of that's in an Immortal and Stalker that are back at home, not able to help out in this fight. Neutrophil's looking for damage now. Another Immortal on the way. It does even manage to pull 1 Stalker in and gets the kill on it. Now it's 6 Stalkers to 5, but there's 3 Phoenix and a Sentry as well. But with that Immortal popping, he actually just used all the energy on his Phoenix for lifts. So the Immortal's going to be able to reign kind of supreme on the ground here. The Phoenix are completely useless now, and there's already an Immortal out. Man, I really wish Sir Maligan had pulled the other Immortal across the map here. That's actually really good for him here, especially if he had 2 Immortals and that extra Stalker. That might be all the difference to push through here. Still, there's no shield battery. And the Sentry is gone. That's the only lift available. But he's not targeting the lifting Phoenix. He's just going to try and get damage and say, take my Immortal, I don't care. He's going to try and depower the shield battery as well. Still no lifts on those Phoenix available. There is a Void Ray out, though, and that's huge. And no additional Immortals, I don't think. Just that one still sitting at home. Sir Maligan not F2ing just like Chi and Pone, but I think in his case it's out of discipline instead of not thinking about it. So he does have an expansion back at home, but he's been down 15 workers for so long. Granted, Neutrophil is not using his economy to the greatest advantage. It seems he's a little overly hesitant to make shield batteries and things like that. He's going to hide a base, but he is floating a lot of money. Now adding on 3 additional gateways. And I think he's made a pretty successful hold here. And Sir Maligan, I think if he'd had that extra Immortal and the Stalkers and had just targeted that lifting Phoenix that had lifted the Immortal, 1 or 2 Vowlies out of 6 Stalkers is enough to take down that Phoenix, and then the Immortal could help so much, but it's not quite able to do it here. And now there's Immortals out, there's Void Rays, there's Phoenix, there's Stalkers, and Neutrophil is in a commanding position in this game. Especially as he now hides a 3rd base in the top center of the map. Has great vision, and a lot of Maligan's tech is exposed. He doesn't want to give up that ground, but that may end up being the death of him. As the Adepts now coming in, and I think Maligan just sent that Immortal and Stalker across the map. Whenever he finally needed it, he didn't have it. A little unfortunately there. I think he's going to try and make an attack work, but he's had to warp in so much at home, and his army supply is now eclipsed by 10, almost actually 15 by Neutrophil at this point. So a much stronger economy for Neutrophil. I think, though, we saw a decent chance for Sir Maligan here. He just needed to play it a little cleaner, and he did talk about he's not been warmed up. He hasn't played in a little while, so maybe he can get warmed up throughout the series and play that a little bit cleaner that he needs to and have more success with the build. Now, funnily enough, we're seeing a proxy base out of Sir Maligan as well as Neutrophil. So both players getting a little sneaky. But one of them is doing it with over 100 supply, and the other one is doing it with 60. So still a very good position for Neutrophil. He's now doubling the supply of his opponent in terms of army supply and workers, pretty much. And now has Blink on the way as well. Just a great spot overall for Neutrophil. And like I said, Maligan getting a little too excited with the initial push after getting some good damage. Tries to go up into the main base and ends up regretting it immensely, I would say. We'll be able to take out these Adepts here. But it's going to be double Forge out for Neutrophil as well, and bringing across a massive army is going to be able to just kind of pummel his way through the army of Neutrophil. Or, sorry, of Sir Maligan. And even has Charge out already. Neutrophil looking pretty strong with his Protoss here. Just that little bit cleaner like we talked about, especially in that early game. I mean, I think he was pretty bamboozled by the build of Sir Maligan, but still managed to hold, and GG.
Well, you know, they both look really rusty, right? And we know that this match tonight was delayed. Neutrophil did have a track meet, so they just kind of hopped off. So you could tell both of them were very off. One of them is just way off because he says he hasn't played much this week. The other one said he didn't play much this week, but it's also just hopping on. You could tell that, right? They were not producing as well. They weren't F2ing when they're supposed to. The lifts weren't crisp. They weren't pulling the pros for defense, or Neutrophil wasn't, right? He should have done that earlier. Those kind of things. But this game 1, like you said, they could warm up all the way to game 5. We'll see.
Yeah, and not only, by the way, I checked, Sir Maligan has not only not played in a week, he played one 1v1 9 days ago, and then he has not played any others in a month plus. So it's hyper rust, so to speak, that we're seeing from him there. So definitely every game we'll probably see kind of exponential improvement out of Maligan, just because it has been quite a little while. I think he's played some arcade games more recently, but obviously you can play hockey in arcades, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're warmed up when it comes to 1v1s. But we are loaded in. It's going to be 2,000 atmospheres for our next game. We're just checking to make sure that the players are ready, and then we will go. And indeed, it looks like they pretty much are. Yeah, I think definitely Neutrophil looking advantaged here, but Maligan's not out by any means.
No, you should have won game 1 if you F2'd, I think. If you've been
more I think so.
Aggressive, right?
F2'd, I think if he just kind of said,
okay,
I'm going to kill your Nat now, instead of pushing up as well. There was several things that could have gone better there, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens. All right, we're in the bottom left of 2,000 atmospheres LE. We have our red Protoss player. He is and his opponent in the upper right, the green Protoss. He is
Sir Maligan.
And, you know, it's kind of funny. We've grown used to, I think, over the last couple weeks, very long load times between Chienpone and Fenrir's poor internet, and then obviously in our most recent 2v2 playoffs matches, we had some internet issues because of some major storms. So the load times would take like 5 times as long as they're taking tonight. I like blink and suddenly we're in game. But anyways, we do have a scout going across the map for both players. It is going to be a gateway, obviously, out of each. And I will say, Neutrophil looks particularly open to those cheeses as his Protoss. It felt like every minute that went by, Neutrophil just got stronger and stronger, which, I mean, obviously you do, your supply goes up, but it just felt like his macro was cleaner, his micro was better with each passing minute. So definitely, if there's going to be an opportunity, it's going to be from... Oh, as he kills the probe! of Neutrophil. I think Neutrophil has to GG now. I think that's how that works. I think the game's over, actually, legally speaking. No, I'm just joking. But you have a gateway finishing up, and Sir Maligan's gonna go. I'm gonna go Nexus before Cybercore and be a greedy boy and pylon block you. Zealot immediately getting chronoed out by Neutrophil. No second gas out of. Oh my gosh, it feels like both players are being a little sloppy here. Very late start on mining that gas out of Neutrophil, and only one probe on one gas for Sir Maligan. So a wild game already, for sure. You have Cybercores on the way for both players. Like to see those gases getting filled a little bit quicker for Sir Maligan. I think he's just saying, you know, is he going to drop a Cybercore or something here? Not quite. Doesn't have the money for it. Would have loved to see a Cybercore to just continue to block. But yeah, Neutrophil, I think, just not only grows stronger because of his supply, but it seems like his skill just gets better throughout the game as well. He's better in those later stages at hitting the big macro cycles and things like that. So if he gets to that, I feel pretty good for him. I think if Sir Maligan's going to have a real chance, it's got to be pretty early on. We'll see what he opts for here, though. He has managed to secure a pretty sizable lead on his Nexus. And his Cybercore is pretty much identically timed to Neutrophil's even with that. Looks like he is mining both his gases in the main base now, which is good. You like to see that. Full saturation. We do see a quick sentry, so it looks like Neutrophil is going to play a scouting-focused style. So I think he's like, I'm not too worried about the fact that my Nexus is that much later than yours. I know I'm a stronger player in the macro game. I just have to survive until I get there. So he's going for a sentry to be able to get a good amount of scouting, and even the Zealot coming in, finding some probe damage. So Maligan's having to bring back his Adept. We'll be able to kill that Zealot, I'd imagine. Ideally, you do want to micro it a little bit, but does manage to get a probe. Not too bad. Still 3 probes up for Sir Maligan. And Robo versus Robo. We've got Twilight Council quickly coming down for Neutrophil as well, though. He's definitely got a lead there. Again, we see Sentry and then Observer very quickly. I think Neutrophil's a little worried about DTs. Understandable, considering his opponent, I would say. Mr. Maligan, he's got a good probe lead here. He's probing pretty consistently. He's all the way up to 32 to only 27. Make that 33, so a 6 probe lead just about. And Neutrophil, he's adding on extra gateways, though. We might see something aggressive out of him. Shield battery in the main base. Obviously, Sir Maligan does not have much scouting. Doesn't know what's going on here. And a little bit disjointed on his Adepts there. Needs to cancel both those shades. Does indeed. His Warp Gate's going to be finishing up at pretty much parity for both players, and we do have a quick Warp Prism. So it does look like we're going to see some aggression out of Neutrophil potentially. There's no Dark Shrine or anything, but he's also not moving out with his unit, so I'm a little confused what the Prism's goal is here. I think he's going to warp into Adepts, is my guess, and harass with those. Maybe even 3 or 4. As Sir Maligan finishes the Shade, he can kill that Sentry if he targets it. And you can see Neutrophil knows it. Neutrophil knows that he can lose that Sentry real quick if he's not careful. He finishes the Shield Battery. I wonder if that will make Sir Maligan worry about an offensive play, as indeed there are some Adepts coming in. But Sir Maligan, I think he knows about it. Not sure if he saw it or if he just kind of sniffed it out. He's already got 4 Stalkers in the main. But he's not reacting super quick. Does kill 1 Adept, but there's still 2 in the natural, which is enough to overpower the Shield Battery that is there. We get a warp in of Stalkers maybe out of Sir Maligan. He's still up in probes at this moment. As he did have a pretty significant probe lead there, but now it's going to be a big charge lot Immortal army, I think, out of Neutrophil on potentially 2 bases going for a big attack. And that Warp Prism provides so much opportunity here for Neutrophil. Still got 2 more Adepts in there, 2 in the Nat as well. We're going to have to see some army splits out of Sir Maligan to deal with the harassment from those Adepts. I do like this, though. The Observer, Sir Maligan, is moving out to that dead space. Going to try and keep an eye on that Prism. I think he could have done it a little bit faster, maybe, but I still like the idea. As, yeah, we have 2 more Adepts in the main base. Neutrophil actually ran away with the other Adepts, interestingly enough, but he's getting a lot of probe damage, and we're just seeing, I think, the mechanical lead here for Neutrophil, at least in this game. Able to get a little bit more done with his units, and he's managed to eke out a supply lead with that. Looks like he's going to go for a big attack, I'd have to guess. I mean, You don't make 3 Immortals and then just make Expand and then defense it, you know? You really got to get something done if you're going to invest nearly 1,000 minerals in 3 units. Plus some gas. 300 gas, if you were really wondering exactly how much. Now, we do have Blink coming down for Sir Maligan. We've already got Charge done, and Blink on the way now for Neutrophil as well. Sir Maligan's coming in with 4 Stalkers into the main base. He's going to try and get some damage of his own. And the army for Neutrophil's pretty far forward. Oh, he's going to try and depower the gateways, but unfortunately there's a double pylon there. Oh, but he's going to Sentry block the high ground. Oh, and Neutrophil recalls. Oh, he recalls. I like that. He actually recalls his Warp Prism, so he can lift units up onto the high ground, it looks like. I'm not sure, though. There's a lot of units here for Sir Maligan. Oh, he needs to re-force field that. Oh, he does force field out some of the units, keeps other ones in here, and this is some good damage out of Sir Maligan thus far. The supply has evened up now. Kills a Stalker or 2 and a Sentry, but now he's out of force fields. Oh, that Prism is so low! Oh, he barely gets the Immortals out, but now there's no micro potential for the Immortals. We'll be able to take at least one of them down, but the armies are so disjointed for both players. They're both having a hard time microing it, I think. And I think we're going to see Neutrophil come out on top in this trade. Indeed, we do. Not even going to be able to get out with any of those Stalkers. I don't think one Stalker makes it away. And we do have a pretty good lead for Neutrophil there. That was an insane back-and-forth fight there. Unfortunately for Sir Maligan, some of his Blink Stalkers were on the low ground and kind of blinked into the middle of some Immortals, trying to target that Prism down. Just barely didn't get the Prism with that one Immortal in it. That would have made all the difference, really. So, somewhat unfortunate. Definitely not out of things just yet, but in a dire spot here. His charge is only just now starting up for him, and Neutrophil is coming across the map. There are shield batteries, though, but only a couple Stalkers and a few Zealots. A handful, really. Does have Blink, but Neutrophil, he's taking a 3rd base. He's adding on 5 more gateways to go up to 9 gates. Still, there will be 8 gates out for Sir Maligan. He is taking a 3rd base of his own, but that Disruptor tech is what's really scary here. Sir Maligan is going to go into the Disruptors as well, but a step behind Neutrophil's. Neutrophil does still have 2 Immortals. The charge can finish up here. I think he does have a slightly superior army. As those Immortals really fall off against any amount of Zealots. But a Zealot warping in the main base is going to run into that mineral line. Sir Maligan's going to be able to target down the Prism, maybe, though. Does get the Prism, but now a Gateway and his Robo getting depowered, and his Zealots fighting on the front. Funnily enough, the Zealots are taking a very good trade because Immortals are just that bad against them. Does keep the army of Neutrophil busy for quite a while. Maligan instantly dropping pylons to repower his buildings, and he's on the chase. There's no Warp Prism to micro these with. Maybe Blink on top of the Immortals, but his army got disjointed yet again. Very unfortunate here for Sir Maligan. I think if his full army was there, he'd be able to chase this down, but as it is, he's now at half the army supply of Neutrophil, and the rest of Neutrophil's army is going to be able to catch up and join in here, and that's a lot of Zealots. Still, there are shield batteries. If he can make it back to his natural base, he's warping in. More Sentries, more Stalkers. I would have liked to see more Zealots, maybe. He tries to get some force fields off to block in some of the Zealots. Doesn't quite manage to do so, but I like the attempt. And no upgrades. No, sorry. A Forge has gone down and gotten +1 for Neutrophil, so that's yet another advantage he's built for himself here. And I believe we have a Prism coming across with 2 Disruptors in it. Oh, never mind. The Disruptors are just sort of floating or whatever they do across the map. I think that may be the kill move here for Neutrophil, as Sir Maligan. This is something I've never quite known. If a building is depowered, can you still make the unit that the tech provides? Like, okay, he can. Okay, cool. I figured that was the case, but I wasn't positive. Maybe that shouldn't be the case. But anyways, he is able to make the Colossi despite the Robo Bay being depowered. That's what I wanted to know. Does drop in with his Zealots, +1 armor now on the way, +1 attack on the way as well, though. And a big Colossus coming on the way for Sir Maligan. I'm not sure about that. Colossi can work in PvP, but you have to have a lot of them. And against a mainly Zealot army, which is what Neutrophil has thus far, only 2 balls can get blinked on top of pretty easily, but Sir Maligan doesn't see it, and that, I think, is going to be all she wrote for this game pretty quickly here. Half the army of Sir Maligan going down to a massive Disruptor shot. Maligan trying to keep his Colossus alive, but the overpowered battery does, overcharge, whoops, Freudian slip, does go down. And I think with that, Sir Maligan's chances in this game have gone down as well. So last 2 Stalkers get taken out by another Disruptor shot. And another occasion where Sir Maligan got himself a bit of a lead, but wasn't quite able to clinch it. Takes game number 2.
Yeah, you're right. He had a chance there again, but one is his mechanics. He seems to be, if he's focused on one thing, he just misses something else. Which is normal, right? But more so than I'm used to seeing. And the other thing is, he actually could use F2. There had some stalkers on the high ground. He didn't F2 it down.
Yeah. It was a good try though overall. Like I said, I think Neutrophil, every minute that goes onto that game timer just lessens Sir Maligan's chances significantly.
Yeah.
So a little unfortunate there, but he still has an opportunity as we're going to head into Blackburn for map number 3, and then we don't actually know where we're going to go from there if we make it to game number 4, as they have not completed their vetoes.
We'll just have one thing too I want to mention is on that blink or the force field out, he had a great opportunity there, but his stalkers outside just sat around and didn't really help with the fight. I think they could have helped a little bit, and like you said, right, they ended up blinking into Immortals. So
right, yeah, I mean, it came so close. I think if he'd warped in, I think he had another warping available. If he gets one more force field there,
yes,
that just does so much.
That would have been huge.
I accidentally removed you from the lobby. I went to click to make you a spectator, and then you joined, so the menu changed, and what was once make spectator became remove from lobby. So.
Oh, there you go, I'm back.
All right, we are good to go. Let's check with our players. We're heading into potentially the final map of the night.
Yes, sir.
So we'll see here. Just waiting to make sure that Neutrophil is ready to go. ... Yeah, obviously, you guys are enjoying. Make sure to drop a follow. We're live every Wednesday and Friday for the playoffs now, and then there will be a little break, probably 2 or 3 months for the off season until we head into the next season. Could be less.
Could be less.
Could be more.
Guys. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's less. My heart's on less.
Yeah.
So make sure to sign up so it's less.
Yep. Quick shout out to the Patreons. Pop them up right here, and we're heading into game number 3.
All right, we're in the bottom right-hand side of Blackburn LE. We have our green Protoss player. He is and his opponent in the bottom left-hand side of the map. We've got the red Protoss. He is
Neutrophil.
all right. So Sir Maligan, he's going to pretend to proxy. Who did this? Someone did this in a previous match and then accidentally showed their probe. It made it very obvious. I can't remember who that was. Oh well.
Yeah, I think it's Chinbone.
It might have been, yeah. I think it was against Fenrir, right? Yeah, in their first match. The fake proxy, but then accidentally showed the probe, and so it was no longer a good fake out. Nonetheless, we'll see what Neutrophil thinks is going on here. Will he scout that natural base as the gateway is going down there? Are we going to see a gas come down? Oh, he's going to patrol here. It's not worst case scenario, but it's definitely not great for Sir Maligan here, as I'm assuming he wanted to expand this. But he is forcing a forge out of Neutrophil. That is quite nice. Oh, but here's Sir Maligan's probe. Did Neutrophil see the odd angle that came in from? I'm going to guess not. Because he did not scout up there. So it's still gone, relatively unscouted. The gases are so late, though. He wanted to take a quick expand. Oh, and he's even making a little pylon. All right. Yeah, Neutrophil's like, I've defended. I mean, still, the Cybernetics cores is so far ahead that I think Neutrophil's still in a good spot here. Just not quite the cleanest opening out of Sir Maligan. Not making his gases quite as early as you need him in PvP. And still no Cybercore on the way. Still, though, Neutrophil does not know where the proxy is. So he's scouting around. He's like, is it a gold base? It's not a gold base. Maybe it's the other gold base. This is my gold base now, though, he says. And expands to Sir Maligan's gold base. And, you know, Sir Maligan is instantly heading there with a Zealot. Holy cow. He's too handsome, ladies and gentlemen. He's too suave, he's too buff, he's too Chad. And he finds the gold base. That's actually very good for him there. As he's making a Twilight Council now. And he's got his gases mining. Maybe going to go for DTs? Stargate is coming down for Sir Maligan, though. He's attempting to chase this probe down with his Zealot. And a decent start for Sir Maligan again, but I gotta say, we've seen decent starts in the last 2 games as well, so is it going to be enough to make that difference and get him the win here? I think this build has really thrown Neutrophil for a loop, so that is very nice, and I mean, his Nexus is... Sir Maligan's Nexus was done by the time his started, after the gold base one was canceled, of course. Just a very quick blink out of Sir Maligan. He does have pretty solid blink micro. I think we've seen in previous games, so that's not too bad at all. Oh, and a big supply block for Neutrophil as well. This Oracle is going to be so late because of that. Zealot does see that he's expanding. Will he make it up into the main base, or is he just gonna? He's just gonna fight the Stalkers here. If he sees that, oh, he does see the Forge, I think. He did see the Forge, so he's confirmed that Neutrophil has made a Forge, bought the bait a little bit, so to speak. Took the bait, bought the bait. Fish don't buy bait, they take it. Criminals, honestly. The pylon of Sir Maligan now getting taken down, as we do have another gateway on the way for each player. It's going to be up to 3-gate Blinkstalker for Sir Maligan. And I think Neutrophil is now aware of what was going on there. I think that Phoenix Scout... Nope, I'm sorry, the Phoenix Scout still didn't see the fake proxy. So Neutrophil technically still doesn't know whether there's some proxy buildings or not. Maybe you've assumed at this point that it was a fake proxy. Probably have. But I mean, he's making double shield battery and he's down 10 workers. So not only is he down 10 workers, but he's playing very safe. He's not going across with his Oracle. He's going to go across with double Oracle, I think, because he's worried about shield batteries. And Sir Maligan, he's just going to scout around. He's dotting his I's and crossing his T's. This is really good. A lot of players against Neutrophil, usually his off races, because that's where he mainly likes to hide bases, but a lot of players just don't think of it. Sir Maligan, you know, it takes one to know one. It takes a dirty proxy base and a little scumbag to know one, you know? So he's seen it coming and has reacted to it. And, I mean, obviously down the gold base, but now even rescouting with another probe just to make absolutely certain that he knows what's going on in this game. At the same time, though, this double Oracle's coming in, and there's not much to defend here. There is a cannon and a shield battery, and Warpin's available. It's immediately warping in Stalkers. Very fast reaction, about the fastest possible out of Sir Maligan there. And only 2 workers. Blinkstalker's trying to chase that down. Let's look at the other side of the map, though. We do have a lot of Stalkers and Sir Maligan taking that scouting probe and making a proxy pylon with it. He's got Blink, and he's got an army advantage. The size is the same, but the capabilities are much greater for Sir Maligan, but he's got to get out of here. He sees double battery. I think he will pull back. Indeed, he will. Loses 1 Stalker. Does kill a probe, though, and gets a little bit of info there, so pretty good overall. Charge now on the way as well, and Charge Lot Stalker with Blink is going to be a very strong army against what Neutrophil has at this moment. He's only just now getting into a Robo and a Twilight Council of his own. He's trying to make Void Rays. Oh, and a gold base. Sir Maligan says, hey, I like the whole gold base idea. Let me do it. He's reclaiming his territory, you know? Well, Neutrophil, he's warping in a very odd army. I mean, a lot of Adepts, a lot of Stalkers, Zealots, a Sentry, Oracles. I mean, the Oracles aren't too weird. The Stalkers aren't too weird, but the Adepts feel pretty odd. And there's like 4 of them, I think. 5 Adepts, which are going to be not the most useful here. At the same time, the double Oracle is coming in again. It's looking for more damage. Will we see as quick of a pull? Oh, but it's just going to be a Stasis Ward. 4 workers. Not too bad. Chi and Pone as good at handling stasis wards as Sir Maligan, confirmed. 4 workers each. There's a Prism looking to come into the main base with 4 charge lots. Charge is done. However, one thing Neutrophil has going for him here, if not the worker count and if not the army status, it is +1. Already done. +1 armor on the way too. Sir Maligan, he's moving out with his Stalkers. He's going to try to get a big warp in the main base of Zealots, I think. Oh, he's going into the Prism. He does drop out some Zealots. The Stalkers are trying to target down that Prism, but they're not going to be able to do so. And the Oracles are actually relatively low on energy because of all those Stasis Wards. And the Stasis Ward just ran out in the front as well. Oh, is Sir Maligan going to be able to get damage done here? I think in the main base is where we're seeing the real story. Yeah, 5, 6 probes going down. The Oracle's doing his best. If it was Lings, I'd feel a lot better about this, but obviously that's kind of impossible in PvP. And a lot of probes go down Sir Maligan. He's got the weirdness going, and it's doing good for him here. It's paying off in spades, as they say. I will say, the one thing is, he's not got enough production. He's only got 4 gateways, and he's on 3 bases, including a gold. So that's a little unfortunate. Warp Prism will get taken down because of the slow fields, I believe. Yeah, does get taken down. Oh, and a slow warping as well. Neutrophil probably could have snapped up a couple of those Stalkers with the Void Ray, but with the slow field, probably doesn't want to risk it. +1 is now done for both players, and Neutrophil now going, now I'm going to proxy a base, and this time, it'll work. At the same time, though, he's only on 28 workers. He's got an army supply advantage, but for how long? I want to see 3 or 4 more gateways coming down for Sir Maligan in the near future. Come on, I believe in you, Sir Maligan. He does have charge. He does have blink. Neutrophil only having charge, but he's going to try and take a quick base as well. He's really wanting to get his economy back. That's where he has his advantage in his mechanics, is having that big economy with a lot of production. I'm just not sure he's going to be able to get there at this point. Sir Maligan is a player who is capable of closing out games pretty effectively. And the opportunity arises as we do see an additional 3, 4 gateways. That's very good. Robo Bay on the way as well. He's going to get out Disruptors of his own. I will say, the army Neutrophil has gone for is decent against Disruptors. He does not have Blink Stalkers, which are the main thing you see taking big shots against Disruptors. Zealots, they get on top of the enemy unit, so it's a little hard to Disruptor them. But he does have charge loss of his own, and he's going to catch up in that army supply. He's up 23 workers, and that's including a gold base, which Neutrophil is not going to have even once this proxy base gets up and running. It's only going to be a regular base. I want to be a real proxy base, Dad. No, Pinocchio. Anyways, we're seeing observers fly out across the map. As, yeah, this is the best position we've seen Sir Maligan in today. And I'm really glad to see it. I really do hope he wins at least a couple games. I'd like to get to that game 5, as this is a lot of fun here, and we all, I think, like Sir Maligan. He's a fun player. He's a cool player to watch. He's going into Colossi again, and obviously we don't want to see anyone lose 3-0. Always a little bit unfortunate. Now, the proxy base is unscouted entirely. Sir Maligan, he's warping into that proxy pylon. He's looking to get some damage done with the Zealots there. But now it's 65 army supply to 61. Will he blink up top? No, does not opt to. Does get one of the Oracles, though. So that's nice for him. Neutrophil really wants to get some big stasis wards here, I think. As his army is inferior. It does have +1/+1. That's soon to be tied up, though. But he does find a couple Stalkers. Neutrophil, good at luring those sorts of things out. Oh, and Sir Maligan's not actually mining at his 4th base. There's a lot of probes just kind of sitting there. Sans Cyan, I guess. As, although I think a little more on accident than Cyan. So it's just run out of the main base. Okay, so he warps in 3 Zealots on the high ground and then runs them out back to his main army. Nice. We love to see it. All right. Do you have a second Colossus? We've got Colossi range on the way, and Colossi are actually a lot better against this army than Disruptors are. Although at the same time, with 3 Immortals, Disruptors pretty good against Immortals. And we do see Neutrophil now trying to get out some Disruptors of his own, potentially. But I think Neutrophil's doing a little bit too much here. He's trying to go into Stargates, Fleet Beacons, and Robo Bays. And a Dark Shrine. Oh, but Sir Maligan is actually doing that as well, I guess. He's getting out some carriers of his own. I think if Sir Maligan can kind of just push and win, to be honest. 91 supply to 72. 2 or 3 Colossi out at this point. He's got pretty much equal upgrades. I think he's down 1 attack upgrade. Indeed, he is. He'd be in a pretty good spot. Neutrophil does know what's coming now. He's making carriers of his own. And a big Zealot run by, but there is triple battery here. He is going to try and make it in past the batteries and get some damage done nonetheless. We'll see the carriers as well. So both players know. Both players are going for carriers at this point. As the Zealots... Warping of Adept. I think I would have preferred just 4 Zealots of your own, because yes, the Adepts will be able to clean up the Zealots with the help of the shield batteries, but Adepts aren't going to be good in a main army fight. Even Stalkers, I think, would have been a better choice there, but I understand the decision. They are good against Zealots. But, I mean, actually, the Zealots beat the Adepts anyway, so who knows? But you have a Mothership on the way, 2 more carriers, Colossi on the way out. No air upgrades on the way for either player, actually, which I think would be good in the near future, but Maligan's just got such an economy advantage, especially with 16 probes. Oh my gosh, and I thought that was just Neutrophil's base. Sir Maligan is taking a hidden base. Hidden base versus hidden base. As Neutrophil's has been able to mine fully, but Neutrophil's actually, don't tell him guys, but he's not mining any gas at all. He just put probes into his gases. He actually had 0-0 on his main and nat gases, hadn't taken any on his 3rd or 4th. So he was out of gas for quite a while. Meanwhile, Sir Maligan has a pretty sizable bank. He's up 20 army supply. He's the first one to get that +1 air upgrade going. And he's got a carrier advantage, I think. It's 3 carriers to only 2. They will be tied up soon, but then Sir Maligan will take another advantage here momentarily. He's warping in another 7 Zealots. Maybe going to send those in while he attacks. Fingers crossed for him. Sir Maligan fans, we'll see what he opts to do here. And yeah, I mean, his army's just so much better. Disruptors are coming out now. I think this is the first one about to pop here. Indeed, it looks like it is. So 1 Disruptor, though, I don't think is going to be enough to change the tides of war. As Neutrophil did see these Zealots with an Observer, I think. Oh, and actually, Neutrophil is going to scout the hidden base of Maligan, but Maligan doesn't need that hidden base. If we're being honest, that's just sort of a swag pro gamer move. There's a DT heads up there. Honestly, the hidden base revealing the DTs before they can get a ton of damage done is almost just a worthy trade anyways for a base. Definitely a crazy game thus far, and now the attack comes. It's 4 carriers against 3, a Mothership. There are a couple Void Rays out for Neutrophil. +1 air weapons has not kicked in just yet. It is +2 attack to only +1, but it's 20 army supply up for Sir Maligan, so we'll see. Neutrophil doesn't know this is coming just yet. Now knows, but only 2 Disruptors out and 1 shield battery right at the forefront. Big blink back, dodges the first Disruptor shot perfectly. Absolutely beautiful. And full cloaking here. An excellent revelation out of Neutrophil, but this base is forfeit here. And Neutrophil cannot afford to be losing bases at this point. He's trying to target down the Mothership. Doesn't quite manage to do so, though. Could blink on top of these Disruptors. Indeed, he does. He targets down the Disruptor that's still at a shot left. And I think we're going to see Sir Maligan push through here. All the Interceptors of Neutrophil are gone. And the Interceptors of Sir Maligan stand strong. 4 carriers. That's 32, 6-something Interceptors. 32. I know math. It's 32. Okay. Anyways, 32 Interceptors, a Mothership, units underneath. And I think with the Colossi in particular, Sir Maligan will be able to push through here. I mean, there's shield batteries here. There is no battery overcharge available, though, because there's no energy on any of the Nexi. The Immortals are now falling. More Warpins from Sir Maligan. He's up 160 supply to only 70 for Neutrophil. And we will see Sir Maligan get his name on the board. An important moment for him in this series, as that fake proxy doing work. Wow, what do you think of that, KJ?
Oh, that was a game. And you know what? The map selections, we're going to have to figure out what's next. So,
yeah.
Because I think there was an issue with the map selections. It's the best of
I'll message Neutrophil.
Yeah, for some reason, they didn't really finish this map selection.
It looks like it's either...
It's Neutrophil needs to select the map, so it's his turn. So he needs to finish
yeah,
that
I was
off.
trying to figure out. It's Curious Minds...
Yeah, and we'll show you guys that on,
Okay, so
on
he's
the
going to do
screen.
Glittering Ashes for
As,
map number 4, and
yeah.
Curious Minds will close us out if we make it there.
Yeah, there you go. They finished the map
Loading it
selections.
up
There
now.
you go. Yeah, they just kind of
Inviting
stopped
our
at, 3
players.
games, I guess, thinking, you know, hey, 3 maps. But
Yeah, yeah. Neutrophil was extremely confident he wouldn't need to complete his vetoes, so... Alright, let's put him in there. And Protoss. Looks like we are pretty much ready to go. Just making sure our players are ready. We're heading into map number 4. It's good to see not another 3-0. Like to see Sir Maligan getting his name on the board, and indeed he has, so we're loading in now. It's Glittering Ashes for map number 4.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, in the upper right-hand side of Glittering Ashes LE, fighting back, the green Protoss. He is...
Sir Maligan.
And his opponent in the bottom left, the red Protoss. Can he close it out? He is.
Neutrophil.
And, I mean, hey, Sir Maligan was absolutely correct. If this was a best of 3, he would have been out before he could have gotten a game on the board. But with it being a best of 5, he's able to get that chance, able to warm up a little bit. And I like this. He's doing another fake proxy, but he's putting it even farther back, so it's harder to scout this time. In a way, it's good. In another way, I don't think Neutrophil ever figured out where the proxy was anyways in the previous game, so I'm not sure that he's going to scout there after all. But we'll see, as he's going to see nothing in the main base yet again. Oh, it's a forge! Oh! Oh! Big brain time. It's big brain time, ladies and gentlemen. Gateway Forge at home for Sir Maligan, and he's going to cannon rush Neutrophil here. Now, the cannon rush is actually better if they go 2-gate, I think, because you're able to... Oh, he does go 2-gate. You're able to wall off with the 2 gateways, so they can't get down to the low ground. Oh, but he's going to try and go over here. Oh, but Neutrophil, he's sending a probe. In theory, what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to put a pylon to wall off the gateway so they can't get to the low ground. And then... oh my gosh, is he going to do it? No, too slow. Too slow. Ah, so unfortunate here thus far for Sir Maligan. He is still able to put a cannon down on the low ground as soon as that pylon finishes up. He should cancel the other 2. And yeah, cannon on the low ground. He puts a cannon right there to block the pros from getting down, and we'll be able to drop a cannon down on the low ground as well. That first cannon up on the top should get killed, but the cannon on the low ground should make it up. He needs to get up there with his probe, though. Drop, like, maybe a pylon down on the low ground and then get up to the high ground. Ah, but he doesn't wall off. He's making a lot of stuff at home. He's making a gas. He's making a lot of stuff. And the cannon's going to get taken down. Cybercore is going to be finished up well ahead of Sir Maligan, and Neutrophil with a solid hold. Sir Maligan just barely not getting that wall off up in time. Does have to cancel everything. And not too far down in workers. Could take a quick expansion, except Neutrophil has pylon blocked him. And yeah, Cybercore is so far behind. Neutrophil is just in an excellent position in this game. And yeah, I think if he just dropped the pylon in the wall off initially, and then walled that low ground cannon in, he would have been in a pretty good spot. But his first pylon was way too late, unfortunately. You're supposed to be able to have it up. Like the Zealot should not be able to stop that cannon on its own, even if it's not walled in. If you get your pylons really quickly, there shouldn't be enough time. But he wanted to be able to get that 4 pylon wall. Unfortunately, was not able to. So we're going to see him go ahead and take an expansion. He does have a Cybercore out now, but Neutrophil definitely in a good spot here. In game number 4, he's looking to advance to be able to fight. Funnily enough, his bracket to the finals is the 2 people he lost to in the group stages. Sir Maligan and then Dark Menace. I believe those were the only 2. So.
And me.
Oh, and you. Well, there you go. You're technically in the playoffs as well. You're just on the opposite side of the bracket. So hey, maybe he'll have to fight everyone if you beat the Code A champ and Instability. He'll literally have to fight everyone he lost to in the group stages. It'll be like facing his the ghosts of his past. All right, we'll see what happens with that. But for now, we'll see what happens in this game. As Neutrophil, Sir Maligan, he's rushing up to a Dark Shrine, but Neutrophil's going to get a scout off on it, I think, with the Adept. Kind of don't want to run the probes over there because they'll reveal what's going on here. But the cannon is here. I think, yeah, he's seen the Dark Shrine. He knows what's coming, and it should be a pretty easy hold of said Dark Shrine from there. As just a little unfortunate there for Sir Maligan. Does get it scouted. I'm a little surprised. I think he could have had a gateway unit out already to block that Adept a little bit better, but alas and alack, there is one Oracle, but an Oracle's not the best detection on the planet. However, it's only going to be 1 or 2 DTs warping in, and they're going to have to warp in on this side of the map. There's no pylon out, nothing like that. So, 3 gateways, it will be 3 DTs. 1 Oracle, he's getting another Oracle, that's good. Should be able to hold this pretty handedly. If you can get a Revelation off on 2 or more DTs, it'll be a very easy hold. But we'll see. There's still technically a shot at this for Sir Maligan. But this is definitely very all or nothing with these DTs. They've either got to win the game, or the game will be lost. And now there's as many Oracles as there are DTs out. He's getting DT Blink. Interesting. Will he wait to move in with the DTs until he has said Blink, though? I don't think so. I don't think you really can afford to at this point, as a Forge is already coming down for Neutrophil as well. And the DTs are coming in clumped up, it looks like. 1 to the main, 1 to the nat, though, maybe? No, just both to the natural. And they both get revealed. Just tries to target down as many probes as he can. He's actually up in workers, so there is that, but he's down a measly 30 army supply, so I don't think it matters that you're up 4 workers at that point, unfortunately. With cannons going down on all the bases, trying to get DT Blink out is making a shield battery, but it's a lot of stalkers to not very many stalkers, so maybe if he could get DTs split off perfectly and target down the Oracles or something like that, you know, there's a shot, but I'm just not seeing it here. A good attempt at a cannon rush, just not quite pulling it off, and it looks like Neutrophil should be able to secure the victory here and advance on to fight Dark Menace. And the gateway even gets depowered. Should be able to reveal this DT imminently. Indeed he does. Technically, battery overcharge will keep it alive for the moment. Battery overcharge will run out before too much longer. And the DT does set off. It's just 1 DT in the stasis ward, so that's not too bad. There's enough energy, though, for another reveal here, and he does get revealed. I think that's going to be all she wrote for Sir Maligan in this season. Still a top 5 finish, I believe it is. So not too bad at all. And considering how rusty he seems to have been, based off his match history and his own testimony, nothing to feel too ashamed about, I would say. I mean, technically still has 33 workers, so if he could somehow hold this with DTs, and there is only Revelation detection, but there's just enough Revelation detection. Revelation, they actually made it so you can cast it much more frequently, it just doesn't last as long. It's only 15 energy, so by the time it runs out, there's pretty much going to be enough energy for another one immediately. And now everything gets depowered. Sir Maligan, he's trying his best. He knows this is his last chance, so he's giving it all he's got, but I think it's going to be all she wrote in this game number 4 here. Shield battery will get targeted down. It still has Revelation available, but there's not really any production available for Sir Maligan. He's trying to sneak up a base in the bottom corner, but it's 40 army supply to 2. He's trying his best, but the best ain't going to be enough at this point. Sad to say. But an epic series overall, that game 3. Quite sick. As he's still trying. He's got that cannon, the anchor point, but GG is called.
Let's bring everybody back, including you, to the camera screen. Let's bring our players back.
There I is.
Alrighty, guys. What a series. That third game was amazing. The fourth game was very interesting. Where should we start? ET, why don't you go for it?
Yeah, so let's see. Sir Maligan, obviously a great attempt overall. Not quite able to repeat the victory over Neutrophil there in the best of 5. I think we definitely felt, as you said, a little bit of that rust. Things not quite as clean as we're used to seeing, but sometimes unavoidable real life gets at you. How do you feel about your performance overall? Obviously, you were able to take one game, which was a very epic game with a little bit of trickery there. How did you feel throughout the series?
Yeah,
just overall.
I felt kind of slow actually. That last game, I just one more pylon could have closed that. I could have dropped a good cannon cheese there, but yeah, I missed out. So
Right, yeah, it was close. The probes barely making it there in time in game number 4. And game 3, obviously, your build went pretty much unscouted with that fake proxy in the natural base. Is that something you've been doing for a while, or is that a new idea you picked up recently?
no, this is the first time I tried it. Let me just try it because I've seen the pros do it. I guess, like fake a proxy, fake a rush.
Right, yeah. I mean, it worked out in a big way. I mean, Neutrophil is pretty worried. Funnily enough, I don't think he scouted that little section of your base until like 10 minutes into the game. So it went a long time. Forced out a forge and everything like that. So that went pretty well overall. And then game 1 and game 2. Game 1, it felt like got a little bit overexcited when you pushed into the natural base and you had the advantage. I think pushing up the ramp maybe was a little bit over eager, unfortunately. But a good attempt overall. Were you intentionally keeping the extra Immortal and Stalker at home? We were kind of wondering because it felt like at certain points, even after that Immortal and Stalker might have made the difference to be able to roll through him in his natural base. Did you just kind of forget about those units, or were you worried about a counterattack?
Yeah, I was worried by a counterattack, so I left it there after I recalled it. So you know what? It takes a while for it to get to where and then I was afraid the Phoenix might pick it off.
Right.
I was like, there's Phoenix in the map, so I just left it there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. KJ, did you have any final questions for Sir Maligan?
Well, I think you had a good chance of winning this, given both of you guys were out of shape, right? But I think maybe, do you feel like, you kind of were too careful? Do you feel like that? Because I feel like if you just F2, they just really went gung-ho, kind of all in when you did the proxy robo, and then all in on that cannon rush. I feel like that would have made a difference. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, actually, I should have. And then, yeah, E.T. made a good point there. I should have not fought on the ramp, actually. Should have just took the advantage of just taking out that Nexus, I guess. Just slowly starve him, I guess. But yeah, I was too eager to get up there. And then on the second game, with that proxy, with the Prism, yeah, I didn't baby my Prism. I lost that Prism. Should have been able to, at least do a big damage there. But yeah, very rusty. I couldn't do micro for the life of me.
Well, a very good attempt overall. And yeah, that second game, the force fields on the ramp, you took a very efficient trade against an army that outsized you pretty solidly. So I think it was a pretty cool move there with the 4 Stalkers and the Warp Prism. We're able to depower some buildings and everything. Almost got that Prism with both Immortals in it as well, but barely managed to unload them. Did Neutrophil. Very well played throughout the season. Hope to see you back next season as well. Very exciting games, pretty much every series you played. So I can't think of any that weren't really. So well played overall.
Thanks.
But with that, we'll head over to Neutrophil, obviously managing to take it down 3-1, a pretty solid victory. Game number 3, at what, I guess it really kind of, I'm not sure if it ever, I'm assuming he figured out at some point, but his buildings were proxied in his natural. At what point did you kind of get the picture that there wasn't something coming your way?
Well, when I kind of saw that he was getting attacked at home, I figured he wasn't really trying to go all in on anything. But I was still worried because he was chronoing something out of his Twilight Council, so I figured he might be doing some sort of charge thing. So that's why I was kind of rushing out of depths, trying to wall up the front of it. But then I got hit by the Stalkers, and I wasn't really prepared for that.
Right. Okay. And then I guess game 3 as well might have gone differently if Sir Maligan didn't have the nose for hidden bases. Were you pretty surprised that he found the gold that quickly? I was not expecting it personally. Was that kind of taking you aback a little bit?
So I was kind of considering putting the gold on the opposite side of the thing, so he'd be less likely to spot it. Because his probe was following me until he decided to like move commanded away. So I know he saw me go up there. So I kind of took a risk there because I felt like since he was probably faking something, I was kind of far behind. I needed to do something kind of risky, and that didn't really pay off. So
Okay, yeah, and then obviously, game one, I think is that part of the reason you like to go for Phoenix is being able to shut down the Immortals that well. Obviously, you did a great job. The Immortals, I think, got a combined total of like 3 shots off during the entire game. Is that why you like the Phoenix opener so much?
I feel like Stargate in general is just really good anti-cheese because you got like you got detection, you got the lifts, you got void rays if you need the extra DPS. It's just really good all around.
Right, yeah, and it worked out very well there. Game two, obviously, feeling the frustration that many Zergs felt in Wings of Liberty. I can't get into my base. How did you feel post that fight? Did you still feel pretty good? I mean, it felt like you took a fairly efficient trade, but you kind of built the lead at that point. Did you feel worried at all after the force fields on your main ramp?
So as soon as I saw him put that prism down, I saw him warping into sentries and knew he was going to do, so I recalled my prism. I didn't feel like he would get too much damage done, maybe just some power, some pylons, because I did have the prism, I could get some troops into the main. I did almost lose it though, so that was almost really bad. But after that, I wasn't really too overconfident. I still felt like I lost a lot of units in that engagement, but I still wanted to kind of pressure him, keep him on the side of the map.
Right, yeah. And then game three, or I guess four, sorry, the third win for you. Obviously, just kind of scouted the cannon rush, shut it down pretty well, and then managed to scout the Dark Shrine as well. So pretty straightforward there. Not too much to say there. How are you feeling, I guess, going into, obviously, I was talking a little bit in the cast, it's like you're fighting all the ghosts of your past in this season. You're having to fight everyone that beat you to make it to the finals. How are you feeling about your match against Dark Menace?
He probably will beat me. He plays a lot more than me. I know he's not going to like me saying that, but I think it'll be a pretty good match. I don't expect to win that, though.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I
All right.
thought you were asking about Sir Maligan, who he lost to. So I guess that's true. Yeah, he didn't lose to anybody else. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Right, yes. Yeah, so I think we're all looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be, I think, a week or two until we get there. So good luck in your practice for that, and
yeah,
look
nice
forward
job,
to see
guys.
how you
It was
manage to
great.
perform there.
It was a lot of fun watching you guys. I feel like a little bit sharper Malagat would have pulled that off, but then again, to be fair, you weren't sharp either in Neutrophil. You could just tell that. So either way, you gave us some pretty interesting games. You know, Malagat took a game. Maybe you could have taken a 2, and then maybe we'll get a game 5. But either way, pretty fun to watch as usual when we're dealing with a Malagant here with the crazy expansion in the top left in your own area. I was like, what is this game, guys? But nice job. So yeah, let's talk about the next round of the playoffs. Thanks guys for playing. Let's show
Good game.
good games. But look at what we got here, ET Malagant. What do you think about this? Look at the next set of games. Obviously,
Yeah.
you moving on. Neutrophil moving on. Look at this. He'll be facing Dark Menace, and Cyan will be facing Criminal. So we're not gonna go to Code S yet because the next week on Wednesday we're actually gonna play Criminal, Cyan, and the Archaic Little Reaper. So it's a Code A semi-finals.
Yeah, so I mean, we're seeing the land of cheese in a lot of ways in the Code A. When I look at Criminal, the Archaic, and Little Reaper, aggression is really what comes to mind. Cyan, I think the more macro-focused player out of the bunch there, but we've seen Criminal with some very solid TVP all-ins already in this season, so Cyan's definitely going to want to brush up on his scouting and defense of those, and then the Archaic versus Little Reaper is just going to be pretty insane series. I think we saw some craziness in their series. I believe the Archaic did manage to pull it out in the group stages. And then obviously from there, that will decide who is moving on to those playoffs on Friday.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's
So-
gonna be exciting, man. Hopefully, Cyan will put in a lot of what you call this? Shield
Practice?
battery.
Oh, shield
Shield
battery.
battery.
Okay.
Yes.
you may
Batteries will
want to
be-
coach him on that because I do notice you're pretty good at that. You know how good shield batteries are, even though they were nerfed. So I almost feel like every time I expand with Protoss, I put down the pylon and shield battery right away.
Yep. Hopefully,
But, yeah.
Cyan will same. That's been his weakness so far. But yeah, because Criminal's a strong player, man. He's gonna be
He's
the
strong.
favorite.
He is the favorite, and he will be promoted next season to Code S, as some people have asked. Okay, what's the deal with this? I'm like, well, he's definitely back in Code S form. We were gonna put him at Code S, but then he was gold. We were looking at him, and he hadn't played for 3 years. But he put in like 3 weeks of practice, and boom, he got back to Code S. So that's a big difference, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess my question for you, KJ, is out of those 4 players, I guess it's probably Criminal, but who's the one you're most worried about facing? Like, who do you think has the best chance of managing to take you down?
I agree with you. It would probably be Criminal. Although I hate to say this, because I felt pretty confident in my last TVT match with DLS Mizel. I should have a good chance against him, but he knows Terran better than me. He's been playing it since beta SC2, right? I just started playing it, so that's his natural race. And
right.
yeah, he may know more, and it's TVT, right? So
right. At the same time, it is a whole different beast of TVT, I think, from what we saw with you versus Mazel. Criminal slowly playing mech doesn't really sound like Criminal to me from what we've seen.
yeah,
so we'll
he's an
see.
aggressive bio player. He's not a mech
But of
player.
course, it's always possible that Little Reaper, the archaic Green Cyan, is going to be able to clean him up in the playoffs. We'll have to see. A lot of times those aggressive players have a little bit more of a struggle in longer series, like Neutrophil said, keeping everything switched up. Obviously, Sir Maligan's pockets were very deep in this series, but we'll see if Criminal can keep it that way as well. And and then we'll be heading into the Code A semis and finals next week. We will have our Code A champion crowned.
Yeah, I think that's what the schedule says. We'll have to, our commissioner is sick, so he was out. But let me look at the schedule really quick, just to be. Let's show it on screen so that way we can confirm right now. And you guys can check that out under FSL. If you go to SciStorm.com, the FSL, we have transparency here, right? So, here you go, May 13th. That's tonight. We finished that, so we're gonna move on to Wednesday next week on May 18th. And yeah, I think we're only playing 2 series. The reason for that is probably because it's too long to have 3 best of 5s, right? So it looks like Friday will be the finals, Code A finals. So that's what we'll have next week. Basically, just the 2 Code A semifinals matches. And yeah, that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for casting. We had a late start for very good reasons. People got sick. People were out doing other engagements like track and field and things like that. But we got it done. So good seeing you guys. Thanks ET for coming in. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday again.
Hey, still no later than a Fenrir series. So all right. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you on Wednesday.
All right,
Later,
good night, guys.
Later, Wednesday.